grace remain a blessing for all of us tonight. We ask you to be able to be with all our national and world leaders, to guide them in their decisions and quest for world stability and peace. Please remain close and keep all our men and women in uniform throughout the world who fight and defend for our freedoms here at home. Be also with all our first responders who tirelessly provide for our safety, health, and well-being 24 hours a day. For all this, dear God, we give you thanks. Dear Lord, also in all our endeavors, may we remember that people weigh our actions, but you weigh our intentions. And greater yet, as is written in 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, they look on the outward appearance, but the Lord looks upon the heart. In your holy name we pray these things. Amen. We'll call this meeting to order at 6:31 with the Pledge of Allegiance and then a call. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank you. Mr. Manager, do we have a quorum of the commission this evening?
Yes, sir. I can call the roll if you desire.
Okay, if you would, please.
Mayor Fletcher Hope.
Here, present.
Vice Mayor Iris Bailey. Justardi. Commissioner Marilyn Green.
Here.
Commissioner Karen Fiore.
Here.
Commissioner Kathy Penny.
Here.
City Attorney Folsom Walker.
Here.
City Manager Donald Barber, I'm present, and Deputy City Manager John Martin.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, are there any additions, deletions, or changes to tonight's agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I do have two proclamations that are available to be done prior to the staff updates. That is the only addition I would like to make.
Okay. Anyone else?
There were bills added late to the website, and I'm just curious where they fall now on this agenda.
They've been put up with the agenda on the website and available for the sample packets for anybody who wants to peruse through them. They were in addition to the financial statements provided by the finance director, Mr. Michael Whitehead.
So they can be discussed during the update that I'm planned to give?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, I have one under new business item that I'd like to present to the commission and then consider it for possible action by resolution at our next meeting. And it is the Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project. You may or may not have heard about that, but it's in conjunction with the St. Johns River Water Management, negotiating with Swanee River Water Management District, and an alternative plan to try to recharge our aquifer on this side of the St. Johns River. And their plan is not very exciting, so I'd like to present that.
So, Mr. Mayor, discussion with possible action G under new business.
Yes, sir.
Water Aquifer Recharge Project.
Right. Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project. Yes, sir, please. That's all I have. Okay, next item is our updates.
Public comment on the agenda?
If anyone would like to come forward, yes, sir, please. Certainly.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, Mr. Lewandowski.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Just a couple of things. One is in regards to the bills. So are these additional bills, are the bills for March and February?
Yes, sir.
They are. Okay, so I'll delete that comment then. Okay, so comment number one is on the minutes. I noticed the minutes are again missing.
That'll be in the staff update.
They will be for both February and March.
The announcement about them will be in the staff update.
Okay, thank you. Okay, public comment period. So, you know, we are not bound, but Robert's Rules of Order 12th edition, which is the newest edition, is part of our ordinance. It doesn't say 12th edition, it says the newest ordinance, the newest edition of it. And so I have a concern that we've eliminated the public comment, public announcement we've had for about the last 10 years that I've been coming to the meeting, and we've eliminated that. I'd like to bring to your attention that Robert's Rules of Order talks about custom. So if you have something that's going on in the meeting as a custom for a long period of time, it becomes in effect a rule. And so if you want to eliminate something from the agenda for one time, that's okay. But if you're going to eliminate something permanently that's been a custom for a long period of time, such as the public comment period, it really needs to be you guys sitting up here and then saying, making a motion that you want to eliminate that custom, because it has been a custom for 10 years. And I would also like, before you do that, I'd like you to think very hard about the importance of public comment. If you wait too long at the end of the meeting, it's difficult. So that's the main things, and thank you for the bill payment. One last thing is on the consent agenda. If the amount of money in the lighting agreement, if you guys don't have enough money to cover that or aren't sure that you can cover it, then I'd like to have that pulled from the consent agenda for discussion. If in your opinion, the money's there for, we can afford to do that and the grant's going to cover everything, I'm okay with that. Thank you.
The lighting agreement, from my understanding, is what FDOT pays us. It's income, it's revenue, it's not what we
Is it?
pay.
Right. It is, it's revenue?
It's revenue. So I don't really want to remove revenue.
Oh, okay, no, because as I read it, maybe I misunderstood it. I got the impression it was reimbursement for repairs.
And the state sets the rate. We can't negotiate. So it's what they've determined they're going to pay us.
It's pure revenue. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else for public comment regarding the agenda?
Regarding the, thank you. So I wanted to say I agree with Bill on the citizens' comments, because we only get one time a month, and 3 minutes is just not enough. I mean, most of the time when I comment on the first period, I still have a list of, because it's only 3 minutes, I still have a list of stuff to comment on the second period. So, y'all work for us, and we want this, whether it becomes rural or not, but we want this, and we deserve the time with y'all. So that's my 2 cents. The rest is all about the bills. I did have a question because it said discussion with the commission on the bills. Are we going to have, the citizens, going to be able to comment on the bills at that time? Okay. The minutes, they're not going to be written minutes so the citizens can see them anymore?
There'll be a staff update about the minutes.
But no written minutes, because...
There'll be a staff update about the minutes. I'll explain the minutes during the staff
okay,
updates.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else regarding the agenda?
Yes, regarding what we just spoke about. So just I want to make sure, because I wanted to go back and reread that maintenance agreement, because it says, and again, maybe it's pure revenue, but the language of it talks about, for satisfactory completion of all services detailed in the agreement, FDOT will pay the maintaining agency, which I assume is us, $13 million.
Correct.
Right. So again, I just want to make sure that there's nothing that we're supposed to be doing.
Well, there's a maintenance agreement, yes. There's maintenance that we're supposed to do, but that's what the agreement's for. They pay us for that maintenance.
Oh, okay, and again, I just want to make sure that there's no difference between what they pay us and what we have to expend.
Well, even if there was, you can't negotiate with FDOT, so the only option is to take the lights down.
Okay. Okay, so is there so again, I want to get to, is there a delta on our part?
No.
Projected delta?
No.
That's my question.
On top of that, we have some things to discuss on that when the item comes up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else regarding the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, I want to state that Vice Mayor Iris Bailey has arrived.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Vice Mayor. Hello, Mr. Kasuki.
Citizen. So I agree, this, after being here, this will be my 36th year living here, and we always had the participation. Always, I mean, it's always been that way. Now we're gonna cut that out, I mean, it's like, some things can change, but some things need to stay that way because everybody can't always stay at the very end to bring out their thoughts and opinions on things. And that leaves a lot of people, I gotta go. I can't stay here any longer. Where in the beginning, that we had that for all those years, they were able to do that, and if they had to leave, they could do that later on. Even though later on, some people might discuss some things again, or something different within the whole package. That's my thoughts.
Duly noted. Thank you. Anyone else regarding the format of the agenda this evening? Okay. Hearing none, staff. Updates?
Mr. Mayor, if we could, I'd like to do the proclamations, if that was all right, as
Sure,
adopted.
sure.
But I didn't hear a motion for accepting the agenda with the added changes.
Is there a motion to accept the agenda with the two additional items?
So move.
I have a motion from Commissioner Green. Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
Any further discussion? The second was just talking about Florida First Water project for North Florida. Hearing none, any discussion from the audience regarding the two additions to the agenda this evening? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of the agenda with the two additions, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Nays, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. All right, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have a proclamation for Water Conservation Month. This is an important proclamation that we are actually required to do every April as a condition of our CUP permit, our consumptive use permit with our water provision. So whereas water is one of Florida's most vital natural resources and is essential to the health, safety, economy, environment, and quality of life of the residents of the city of Archer, and whereas April is recognized across Florida as Water Conservation Month and is typically one of the driest times of the year, when outdoor irrigation demands increase and careful water use becomes especially important, and whereas the Florida Department of Environmental Protection supports water conservation, water resource stewardship, and other efforts that help communities protect water supplies and natural systems, and whereas the Florida Rural Water Association works to help water and wastewater systems provide Floridians with an ample supply of high-quality water while promoting sound management practices that protect water quality and quantity, and whereas simple actions by residents, businesses, schools, churches, and public agencies, including fixing leaks, maintaining irrigation systems, checking rain shutoff devices, reducing unnecessary outdoor watering, and using water efficiently indoors and outdoors, can make a meaningful difference in conserving water. And whereas protecting water resources today help preserve reliable drinking water supplies, support local infrastructure, protect Florida springs, wetlands, rivers, aquifers, and ensure a stronger future for generations to come. And whereas the City of Archer encourages all citizens to be mindful stewards of our water resources and to support practical water saving practices throughout the year. Mr. Mayor, I'll pass the last sentence, the now therefore, over to you.
Now therefore, I, Fletcher Hope, Mayor of the City of Archer, on behalf of the Archer City Commission, do hereby proclaim April of 2026 as Water Conservation Month in the City of Archer, Florida, and urge all residents, businesses, and institutions to join in protecting and conserving this precious resource. The witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Archer, Florida, to be affixed this 13th day of April 2026.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
All right, second proclamation is proclamation for Parkinson's Awareness Month. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological disorder that affects movement and can also affect speech, balance, sleep, mood, cognition, and daily living. And whereas more than 1 million people in the United States are living with Parkinson's disease, and approximately 90,000 people are diagnosed each year. And whereas April is recognized as Parkinson's Awareness Month and World Parkinson's Day is observed on April 11th to increase public understanding, support those living with Parkinson's, and encourage continued research. And whereas a greater awareness can help people recognize symptoms earlier, seek medical evaluation, access treatment and supportive therapies, and reduce stigma faced by individuals and families affected by Parkinson's disease. And whereas people living with Parkinson's disease, together with their families, caregivers, healthcare professionals, therapists, researchers, and advocates, demonstrate resilience, compassion, and hope in the face of ongoing challenges. And whereas education, community support, and investment in research help improve quality of life and advance progress toward better treatments and ultimately a cure. And whereas the City of Archer encourages residents to learn more about Parkinson's disease, support those affected, and promote understanding throughout our community. And again, I'll pass this to you.
Now therefore, I, Fletcher Hope, Mayor of the City of Archer, Florida, on behalf of the Archer City Commission, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the City of Archer, Florida, and urge all residents, businesses, and institutions to join us in raising awareness, honoring those living with Parkinson's disease, and supporting continued research, care, and community engagement and such. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand, caused the seal of the City of Archer, Florida, to be affixed this 13th day of April 2026.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to updates. I'll start with my updates, then I'll move to the Deputy City Manager, and then we'll have the City Attorney as far as staff reports. So first I wanted to mention that an RFP went out this afternoon for the wastewater collection systems design. It was found out that we couldn't just do it through continuing services because of federal and state grants. So we were informed of that last week. An RFP was created. It was posted this afternoon with a start date of a 15 advertised day and a 10-day consideration period. We will get those proposals and we will have on the May agenda for you all to decide who will be awarded that through that grant and state funding to finish the design of the collection system to move forward. An RFP on the financial services audit will be finalized in its bid. It was put out many weeks ago. We have another 2 weeks, and if we get any bids, we will then again in the May meeting present that to the board, whatever competitive bids there are, with a staff report and a scoring sheet for you all to determine how we're going to move forward for the 2025-2026 budget audit. If we do not receive any bids, we will have to continue on with Powell. Just keep in mind that that increase that you all saw was significant, so that will be put into the budget for this coming year. And again, we will immediately contact the state with either process and let them know that we do plan on following through with the audit, but it will be a little bit later than they're typically used to. My goal is that next year we finalize and get everything done in the right time. So expect in June or July to see another RFP for the 2026-27 budget. We're going to go ahead and get way ahead of it and get it out there. We'll put out another RFP for that as well. There was QuickBooks and the Intuit, which was an issue. Enterprise 23.0 was discontinued as of May 30th. I believe I've contacted all of the commission about that independently. We went ahead and moved forward on that as was discussed. With the online QuickBooks, we are actually going to save a significant amount of money from the previous version to what we're moving to. And we've already gotten with our accountant, and the QuickBooks was transferred yesterday and today, and we're in the process of fully converting over. We also included a new module, which was payroll, and then of course later on the agenda tonight you will see a proposal from JNS to increase their involvement in the payroll so that no one here in City Hall is doing anything other than just confirming time. And someone from the outside will be fully in charge of processing payroll. So that's the ultimate goal. I wanted to mention that the Suwannee River League of Cities meeting is in Live Oak on April 16th. That's this week. I will be attending. So if any of you would like to attend, make sure that you RSVP to them. I have the address, the time, all of that if anyone is interested as far as the commission. We will have the minutes caught up in the May meeting. So obviously with the issue of not having a clerk for a little while, there is, and I've spoken to our city attorney about it. Matter of fact, a question was posed by a resident regarding this issue of the minutes. The city attorney can address this, but she came back with a finding that we're not out of compliance. I do plan on bringing us completely up to date in the May meeting, but this has to do with an FMLA matter. I cannot force an employee to be caught up on something when they have a legal, liable, real excuse for why they were not able to prepare those minutes. But those will be caught up this month from all the previous meetings. I believe our last meeting that we were compliant in was December meeting. So the January, February, March, and April meeting minutes will be all there on the agenda, posted for the residents, posted for the board prior to the meeting at least a week, and be available to be caught up at that time. So appointments are now available at City Hall tomorrow. I'm trying to do some Tuesdays here. We had last Tuesday, we were here for quite a while. Times that are available, if anyone in the audience or listening would like to know, I have 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and 2:30 p.m. available tomorrow in between other appointments. So if someone has a particular issue that they're concerned about or something that they want to meet on, they're welcome to do that and see me after the meeting. We have at the May meeting, expect our finance director to be here as part of the agenda, and he will hopefully give a great presentation on kind of where he picked up the budget, what we've done in the meantime, where we are currently, and what we suspect to do with a timeline within the next few months after that, to get this ship turned around as far as transparency, records, and all that good stuff. I wanted to mention that the wastewater and Archer Newberry system plan upgrade, that obviously there's an item in here about that, so I won't discuss that, but that is moving forward with FDEP. That is what that one item on there is about. We'll discuss that more later, but we have not stopped in that process, and everything is going according to the timeline that's supposed to be on our end. I wanted to mention the March 24th workshop that we had. We have some extra copies of both the water presentation and the wastewater presentation for anyone who was not able to attend that workshop here tonight. They're also on the website under forms for anybody to download in case they missed that workshop. And then I want to acknowledge the hospitality of the mayor, Mr. Mayor, and your wife for the refreshments that you all provided. I think everyone there was kind of blown away by how good they were. And so I just wanted to publicly acknowledge that you did that outside the city, and I'm thanking you for that.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Then we have resident meetings. Over the last month, we've met with many residents. We've set up a lot of appointments. We've done some tours with different residents. I'm still available to do that. John has enjoyed, we've gone out many times, and people have shown us things and gotten us to realize certain things, and we've taken tours of the parks, and we've taken tours of the retention ponds, and we've taken tours of some of the facilities and businesses and the neighborhoods, and it's been wonderful. And if anyone else wants to do that and be able to provide some input to the staff, we are here for that. We want to learn from the residents, so we welcome that. We discussed with all of you except I believe Ms. Bailey, but we toured you a little bit through City Hall in the main office and showed you some of the physical changes that have been occurring, and we're marching forward with those just to make it a more productive work environment. So we're hoping that you all have seen that and are pleased with it, and are certainly welcome to some input. Next item I have are technology updates, not just QuickBooks, but also we are looking at some demonstrations that will help with citizens being able to report in anything that they see, and the staff being able to have work orders generated, and then the citizens actually getting responses and updates from those work orders. So we had our first meeting with one company. I plan on having a couple of more. We plan on coming back, figuring out what we can afford, and bringing back some sort of solution so that residents actually feel like their concerns are heard. They can actually have a response as to what was done, and then there can be follow-up and progress on some of those. I wanted to also mention that Edmunds GovTech, which is software that we have for our utility billing, another city had one of their employees come in and actually sat with our staff one day this past month, and for the whole day did training on getting us better equipped to utilize that platform. And they've offered to come back any other time that we need, that we can schedule it with them, even on their own time, to get us more integrated into that system. QuickBooks, as we discussed earlier, is a stopgap. It's to give us 1 year to get everything turned around and transparent on the finances, and then all that should be moved to Edmunds so that we can have that system that we already pay for utilized. But that propagation of data and all that takes a while, and it's kind of like the whole process of garbage in, garbage out. You have to be very careful what you put in so that we don't have billing errors. Other cities around us that have used Edmunds and tried to activate it too soon have had terrible results. Double billing, inaccurate billing, all kinds of things. So we don't want to go down that road. I wanted to mention that tonight we have our Friends of Archer board applications that are available. And also on the podium here for public comment, we have a flyer, and anybody can grab a copy of that flyer to hand out to folks, because that's something that we want to make sure that we get all those applications in this month, so that those applications that come in can go before you at your May meeting. You all can pick that board. City attorney will address that in her announcements, but the main issue is that those boards have to be appointed, the 9 members, in order to file the paperwork with the state and get everything formally processed in a legal manner. So that's our next goal. We've gotten everything formatted, all the bylaws, all those things, and now we need the actual 9 members. So this month, up until May 1st, we are asking for residents and business owners in Archer to consider being part of that. The application explains everything, your time commitments, what positions are available, what would be expected, what is the relationship between the council, or excuse me, the commission and the board, and all those things. So, and if they have any questions, they can reach out to us. We had a meeting this month with Noble Global. That is a school traffic safety program, specifically only for the 3 school zones that we have. They did an initial study for free. And so what we're working with them is to see if they're willing to look at us as a pilot program to utilize code enforcement to prevent fatalities in school zones. And in the process, it could potentially be a revenue stream that is protected through Florida statute that would actually enable the city to actually get some money in and punish bad behavior. This is no points on licenses. It's all done through the state. There are cities all around us that have adopted these programs. The Alachua County Sheriff's Department is actually in talks with another company that does something similar for school zones within Alachua County. So this isn't something new. This is something tried and true. You have to be like 11 miles over the school speed zone limit, and it's a lot. That's a lot. And then again, the ticket that you're issued doesn't have any points associated with it. There's still a magistrate through the county that would deal with it. So it's a way of funding code enforcement here in the city, getting an officer that's licensed, making sure that the blight can be dealt with and things can be followed through on. I'm just trying to find creative ways to fund those things that the city needs to move forward. If I'm able to convince them to do something in Archer, they'll give us a proposal, and that's something that you would see in the future, but I wanted to put it on your radar. Florida Rural Water Association, we had a meeting with them this month, actually multiple meetings with them, and they are working with us on an asset management program, a rate evaluation, and an energy study, all 3 different things. They sent us our previous asset management study, so we can use that as a foundation. But I'm wanting to get these into the rotation every 2 years at the least, because these things are important for grant cycles and all those. We also were behind on our invoice with them, which we are now caught up on. Then we had a visit from SIRCAP, 2 visits as a matter of fact, Mr. David. He's been here twice. SIRCAP has a lot of specialities, also all free services offered through the state, no charge to the city. One of their primary functions that we're going to utilize Mr. David for, he's going to come in and he's going to start GISing through our diamond maps, which we're bringing back and utilizing. The city already has it, it's already paid for it. And we're going to make sure that we get every hydrant, every valve, everything we can find that's an asset through water or wastewater, and get it on our GIS mapping. They'll also work with us as we go down the road for sewer, that the same thing can happen as the construction's being done through as-built. So they offer many other programs, but that's just one of the main ones that we're focused on. Those are all, well, one more. Nope, that's it. So John.
Hey, Thank you, Mr. Barber.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. For those who may not know me, I'm John Martin. I'm the Deputy City Manager, and I'm just going to try to give you as brief a report as I can. There's a lot going on, but the mayor asked about it, and I wanted to update the entire commission about the Babe Ruth League. You may have seen we've got about the only organized recreation we have in Archer right now is the Babe Ruth League. There's only one team. It's all volunteers. A gentleman named Josh Pardo put it together, contacted me back when I was interim. They've only got one team. They had 12 sign up for what they call the majors, and that's 12 and under, and 2 sign-ups for the rookie ball, which is 8 and under, so they weren't able to field but one team. They've been doing a lot of games away. They're playing some now at Wilson Robinson Park. So they have a total of 12. The only real cost to the city has been the lights when they run them. They're doing all the own maintenance to the actual field as far as striping and all of that stuff. They've been doing the mowing, but we're about to take that over. Our mowers just came back. They've all been serviced, so mowing season will start, and they certainly want to expand next year. The income totally goes through Babe Ruth. We have accounts already set up. We just basically reactivated them, and they will be presenting me with some invoices for basic things that they did, like some uniforms and stuff like that. So the sign-up fees will essentially go back to them, and the only expense to the city other than lighting is the processing of that. And I'm hoping everybody will agree that it's a pretty good thing to have, because we need to have something for our young people to do. And I think it can really grow from here. And they're encouraged by the Archer Ascending Plan that Mr. Barber put forward, and the 501(c) that you'll hear about more a little bit later. And they're ready to be a part of that. They've even got somebody that wants to apply to be on that board. So I think it's been jump started, and I'm pretty excited about it. If you have more specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them for you, and I can give you a more detailed analysis of the bills and all that. I'll send them out in an email to you, and they can be public record for sure. So I didn't know if you had any questions on that before I
Mr.
move
Martin,
forward.
this evening regarding this opportunity with volunteer recreation.
If you do, you can also see me afterwards as well. Public Works vacancies, we only have 2 guys, at least we did up until today, that have been working in Public Works, which is obviously not enough. The council actually, before I came on board, and certainly before Mr. Barber came on board, had opened up 2 positions. We now have those 2 positions filled. The one gentleman started today, and the other gentleman, who has much more experience, currently works for the city of Bronson. He will be reporting next week. So we're going to have 2 of those people out there for that. I kind of want to tell you what you might see, and I got to give Calvin the credit for this. He's our Public Works Director. Since we're going to have 4 people, counting him, we're thinking about dividing the city up into 4 zones. Now, that doesn't mean everything won't be done everywhere, but put one person kind of in charge of that zone, so they get to know the neighbors, the neighborhood, that kind of thing, and then we will put the resources there as needed. But the idea of giving them some type of ownership in that zone of the city, and I think it's an excellent idea, so we're going to try it and see how it works. I wanted to update you all on the on-call service, how we've changed it now. So before, they had somebody on call, and the phones were forwarded to them. Someone would take the call, then the person that was on call, which is generally a public service person, or a public works person, I'm sorry, would have to come. So we have changed that to now whoever the public works person is that is on call actually has the phone, and they take the call. So there's only one person getting paid for the on call, not 2. And the voicemail has been changed. Deanna changed it to where if you call here after hours, it basically instructs you to call those people if it's an after hours emergency public work situation, other than that, you just have to come during normal business hours. But it seems to be working well, and it should cut down the overall cost of the on-call. And please stop me if you have questions about it. The Archer cleanup is going to be April 25th, and it is going to be held, it is probably going to start about 8 o'clock in the morning roughly. And it's going to be down at the community center on the old area where the fire station used to be. I've already talked about it with the Public Works people and everything else. We think that'll be a good visualization there, and we'll cordon off the places where people shouldn't be driving. But there's going to be dumpsters for tires specifically and other garbage and stuff like that. We'll post all of this up on the marquee and on the.
Can we get a banner on the fence?
We should be able to, sure.
I mean, Great American Cleanup, Alachua County had banners that are generic, but anything just to identify that it's coming up, so it would be helpful. Because that's been our problem, is we don't advertise the Great American Cleanup.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
And so if any commissioners, I'll send you out an email with some more details about it. But if you'd like to come and be a part of it in any way, shape, or form, you would absolutely be welcome. We might put you to work though. Municipal election, I think everybody knows that the municipal election is tomorrow from 7 to 7. Last time I don't have an official count, but we had a dozen or so absentee ballots come in. They do it slightly different now than they used to by state law. We don't just handle them in turn, but they'll be counted at the community center tomorrow. So basically how it works is it opens 7 to 7. We got that covered. The canvassing board consists of myself, our Mayor Hope, and Mr. Barber. And so once the ballots that's over with, we already did the inspection the other day, then we will officially certify the elections there. We will tabulate the absentee ballots, and the signatures are verified by the county now. Now, if we look at them and say, this doesn't look right to me, we can question them and all of that, but the county verifies the signatures on that. And so the people have asked me, Commissioner Green asked me, so I'll answer it for her in public. The way it is, once we have one new commissioner for sure, because Commissioner Green will be leaving. Mr. Lewandowski in the back will be taking that seat. We could certainly have a race between Ms. Penny and I'm sorry, Ms.
Rossi. Miss Rossi.
What's her name?
Rossi.
Rossi. Yeah, I apologize. So the way it works is once that election is certified, at the next meeting in May, we will have any outgoing commissioners will convene a regular commission meeting just like you see right now. Any outgoing commissioners will say whatever they choose to say, then they will step down and the new ones will be sworn in, and then we'll go from there like a regular meeting. So that's how that. I wanted to also report to you that we had an AC issue at the community center over the weekend. If you attended Ms. Lopez's service, you remember it wasn't working too good. Well, it kind of went totally out. So I contacted a gentleman I know. His name is David Lewis. Did a lot of work for over the city of Hawthorne, and that he came over. They got him up to 50%. One of the motors has to be totally replaced, and they had to order it, and it'll be in later in the week. The total cost is going, and they had to do a bunch of different things to it, between $2,200 and probably $2,500 once they're all, which is within the budget. Yeah, but I felt like we had to fix it because not only did we have an event that night, a graduation ceremony, but of course we've got the election all day Friday in there, so you can't really. Tuesday. I'm sorry, Tuesday. Thank you.
The event was
all
Friday.
day Tuesday. I was thinking about Friday. All day Tuesday, so we can't really have into a sweat box. So I just wanted to update you on that. It should be much better after that. The fuel tags that we talked about before, about monitoring the fuel that is in Archer. I met with the representative of that company this past week. We had a very good meeting out there. We toured the facility. His technician is going to come probably on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday. He's going to let me know, and we'll get a proposal for what that will be. But we are moving forward with tracking the fuel in a more efficient manner. November charter referendum. I want to put this on your, for a future agenda. We're going to bring it back to you in May. Essentially how it works is we have to contract with the county to put it on the ballot. The decisions that you have to make are, do you want it on the primary ballot or do you want it on the general election ballot? The cost is the same. It's roughly like $2,500. The only way it would go up is if you put on there things that extend the ballot a great deal. I'm not saying you will. Then they could upcharge you if the ballot gets considerably longer. So it's up to the commission to determine what to put on there. I think it's your charter review initiatives, but you need to decide next week or next month, I apologize, next month, whether you want it on the primary ballot or the general election ballot. But everything else is already in place for doing that. I already talked to you about the operational zones for the city. And I talked to you about the swearing in part for the commission. Oh, this is, I think you'll love this. The Archer Health Clinic, which is the UF Nursing across here, they are, believe it or not, they've been here 25 years. And they are going to hold a celebration on, let me get the date correct, May 21st between 4 and 7. Mr. Barber and myself met with them. It's going to be, since this is a city street, they're going to close off part of it in front of there. They're getting the ASO, they're doing all that themselves. I have to give Sean Willis, is that his name? The gentleman over here, a lot of credit. We met with him. He came over. He said that he would allow them to operate in front of his building. He just wants a legal liability waiver, which is common, and he's going to allow the workers, the people setting it up, to park in his parking lot. And so they have more parking here. We're of course going to allow people to park over here, but all the commissioners will be invited to come and even speak if you would like to. But it's going to be a grand thing, and I think you'll enjoy it. So it's May 21st, and we'll put it on the marquees and all that. 4 to 7, barbecue, free to the public.
And you guys will see that event application, special event application, in your May meeting. But we went ahead and met with them and went over all the details and made sure that they knew they had to have insurance and do the ASO all themselves. But you'll see that in your May meeting. But we just wanted to make sure everybody had it on their radar.
And two more very quick things. I call it a DG update. Dollar General. I know we've had issues with Dollar General and trucks coming through, and we still do. I have taken it directly to the manager there. She is very frustrated with it as well. Supposedly, all the trucks that come out of Alachua have it on their detail not to do that. But sometimes they get a new driver, or sometimes a truck comes from a different place. I have contacted Dollar General corporate office themselves. I now have a case number, and I'm following up on it. We are going to put a stop to that one way or another, but we're on it. I just want you to sure I'm on it. I'm trying my best to solve that. And one last thing, I got cards now. I'm somebody. So it took a while to get them, but if you'd like a card of mine, it's got my email on it. Please email me. I really enjoy people. Believe it or not, I want to have people to complain about things, to bring up issues, because there's no way for me to know all the things. So please take one of my cards. My email is real simple. It's jmartin, then Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, at cityofarcher.com. But please take one of my cards. And that is it, Mr. Mayor and Mr. City Manager.
Mr. Martin, if I can go back just to two subject matters. Josh Pardo and the Babe Ruth team.
Yes, sir.
Do they have their own insurance, liability insurance, or are they?
Yes, it is
going to
through
be an
Babe
additional-
Ruth, yes.
Okay.
They have their own.
So the city's not going to.
The city is not liable
for their
for it, no.
events and not have to do additional insurance. Okay, thank you.
No.
I have a quick question, if I may.
ma'am.
What happens if we don't get 9 people to apply for the Friends of Archer?
I've got a positive attitude. I think you're going to have 90 that apply, and you'll get your pick of them. So I don't want to put that out into the world.
Okay, so can you just say it would
You
still
could
be
shrink.
okay?
You could the
Okay.
commission could decide to shrink the board. The reason
Okay.
why for the 9 is because it's hard sometimes to get quorums, and the more people that you have involved, when people transition on and off the board, you still have a level of participation that allows not to have 1 or 2 individuals trying to lift the heavy load of doing everything.
Okay.
So that's the
Okay.
that's the plan. I mean, that was the recommendation, but you as the commission in the articles could decide you want a 5-member board, a 7-member board. We just thought the more collaboration that represented different segments of the
No, I get
community
it. I
were
just
better.
didn't know if you don't make it that far, what would happen if it stops or.
We've actually got a lot of great questions, and we've got some people that have asked for the application, and people reaching out, and I hope that you
Great.
have 90 applications. So
I do too. Other question I have, so last year there were bills that came through for Babe Ruth, and they were a couple $1,000s. I would recommend looking at those and see what those covered, because you may already have coverage for Babe Ruth, but they were specifically labeled Babe Ruth, and they were a couple $1,000s, and there was more than one last year that came through the ledger. Just putting that out there.
no, I love that. I mean, we weren't here, so if you guys know of things that we need to look at, we have a new accountant. We're trying to do kind of our own little forensic look over things.
Yeah.
So absolutely,
Yeah,
we'll
and I
mark
can't
that
tell you
down.
exactly what it was, I just remember seeing
What
it.
period it covered, whether it was following
I can find you the date, I have the ledger.
We'll dig into it.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Okay.
And one thing I should have probably mentioned, I think I may have mentioned this earlier, but the bathrooms are now fixed at Wilson Robinson Park. They're now fixed. So I know y'all had authorized me to do that at the last meeting. They are fixed.
Okay. City Attorney, update, report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to jump, because since we were just talking about that 501c3, Mr. Barber's absolutely right. If we don't get 9, I'm very hopeful we will, that won't stop it from being formed. We'll just have to restructure some things. And as soon as we get the names of those people, we'll get that process started and hit the ground running on that. We've worked with Mr. Barber, and Mr. Martin had multiple meetings with him, both Scott Walker and myself. We've now developed a plan where we're going to have 2 meetings a month between both Scott and I and Mr. Barber and Mr. Martin. One of the things that I know has been a little bit frustrating is one of us is at the meeting, the other one's not. I'm checking with Scott, he's checking with me. So we're committed to both being at those meetings, so whoever has attended the actual commission meeting can update the other person. We can keep the ball rolling on all these different task items. And we're thinking kind of tentatively doing a Thursday after the Monday meeting to make sure we've got all the stuff going from that meeting that just happened, and then an update a week or 2 after that to check in, make sure everything's ready for Mr. Barber to put out that agenda to the public. So that is our plan going forward, and I'm very hopeful that we're gonna be able to accomplish a lot of things really quickly with that. I also want to assure everyone that our office is reviewing all of the agenda items in advance. For the last meeting that Mr. Ireland attended, I did review all of those. I prepared him. He was prepared, and everything met with legal sufficiency and form. Same thing for tonight's agenda. I've reviewed all of that and provided any comments that I have to Mr. Barber directly. Regarding the design of the water collection, we have successfully negotiated with Kimley Horn to terminate that contract, and they are going to wipe out any outstanding bill. They were holding on to the design plans, waiting for the city to pay $29,000. They have agreed now to just release the plans to us. So that is a good thing.
About time.
So as Mr. Barber noted, there is an RFP that has already gone out for the new engineering firm. We do have a specific format that we've requested that the materials be released to that firm, so we know that they can just be input and they can hit the ground running on that.
And while we're on that topic, I actually was on the phone with the representative from Kimley Horn today, and they're waiting for us to simply hire that new firm, regardless of whoever wins that RFP and you all award it to. So our meeting, I think, is May 11th or something like that. The next day, we will actually begin to set a meeting with both Kimley Horn,
Transition.
the attorneys and the staff and the new firm, and to, as she mentioned, put that in right away, all the data that's been collected so far, and to close that out. So all that's in motion, but we have to wait for that award to go through.
Next update is City of Archer v. Thickets. There was a case management conference on that case. That's the foreclosure case that's been pending for a long time. That case management was set for next Monday. The Alachua County Circuit and county judges have had a rearranging that just happened on April 1st. So that has now been moved to May 15th, 2026. Scott has talked with Mac McCarty, the attorney for Thickets, on multiple occasions. We believe that we have a resolution, but we do at least have that court date, May 15th of 2026, to proceed forward with foreclosure.
Good deal.
The charter review, I don't remember if Mr. Barber or Mr. Martin touched on it or both. But there was a process. All of those amendments have been track changed into the old charter. Mr. Barber I sent him a copy of that today. So we have exactly what those changes are going to be. Once those are approved, then I can draft the referendum questions. One of the issues was the cost of having so many different referendum questions and expanding the paper and the ballot. Danielle in our office is researching whether we can consolidate these referendum questions into kind of almost an overhaul of the charter. There were so many changes, or how to do that, but we'll have that answer by the time it comes around, and we'll have all of that ready in plenty of time. As far as the Arnold Concrete Batch Plant, so the fire department has reviewed, approved the site plan for the enclosed building instead of the outside building. Mike knew at Woodard and Curran, he has all of the documents as of today and we should have an answer from him this week, and that matter should be put to bed as well. I think that was it for all of my updates now. Again, we are diligently working with Scott and I both to get, I know there are some other outstanding questions, to get all of that done and answered by the next meeting. And committed to one of us being at every single meeting.
And I wanted to give Folds and Walker the credit for the negotiation with Kimberly Horn. So I wanted to thank them for that publicly. Also, all the correspondence that the commissioners and the residents have been giving us, we have in real time immediately turned around if it's anything of a legal nature, and we have turned it over to Folds and Walker. We've asked for responses. Those responses are coming in. I believe many of you here on the commission that asked legal questions have received back those responses. For the residents, I believe most of the residents, if not all of them, that we got legal questions from, they've received an answer. Certainly able to follow up some further on that if anybody has any questions, but we're starting to get some movement in that, and I think there's more of a collaborative relationship, and we're seeing progress. So.
I have a comment. So is there a way that we can have an outstanding list of items? Because, for example, I want to know if the prior city manager issue is still on your list to discuss, or is that done? But I don't want to keep asking you questions if you already have it in your radar.
I have a list. Some of the items on that list date back a while, and I'm happy to forward each of you guys that list. And then you can say, this is still a question, this is not, and we've got it's an Excel spreadsheet that says this was done, who it was sent by, so I'm happy to share that with you.
And that could be a living document. Working with Folds and Walker in other cities, I can tell you that that's how we manage projects. It was something that we, the staff, or you, the commission, or the residents could get access to. The staff and the residents can't ask them to do actual work unless it's been authorized by the commission, but we can at least put things on an Excel sheet to discuss, to know that needs to go on agendas. And then, of course, have tracking as to when was the issue brought up, when was the solution discussed, and when was it closed out. So we want to turn that document in conjunction with the 2 meetings a month that Derek mentioned, and make sure that we utilize those two tools to make sure that we have a more concise project closeout for different things with the city attorney.
Any questions of Ms. Foles? I have one, Derek, as everybody thinks. Regarding the charter review and the amendments and the process, that was one of my questions to Mr. Barber to get with you all on. And I understood from the review that, the commission never made, but by consensus or majority vote, the approval of all of those changes. And the consensus was to possibly have another workshop before we draft those final amendments to the election supervisor. Do you still recommend that, or do you think you just provide the update that Danielle's working on at the next meeting, and then we act on it then? Or what is, and again, I'm asking you, but I'm also putting out there, is it of the mindset of the commission that you want to have another public workshop on those final draft amendment changes, or do you want to just review them as an agenda item next month and move forward?
Well,
I mean, I'm just opening, not to
I-
slow the
I'm-
train,
I'm-
but just that was where we were at when we said we
Right.
might need another workshop before we address
and
it.
I'm thinking that we may need another workshop.
I mean, not to
But-
slow your train down and what Danielle's doing and those for next month's agenda, but I'm bringing that up now. Do we want a public workshop on whatever they're drafted as now for final feedback?
From a legal perspective,
Yeah.
from a legal perspective, in reviewing the minutes for, I think it was the March 2025 meeting, one of the holdups was the cost.
Yep.
And then it was just, we may want to do this. It wasn't something that was, voted and you have to have another workshop. But if you can do another workshop, that would be perfectly fine. And then we can, I mean, that should be able to be scheduled, I would think, in advance of the May meeting to just a refresher. It's been a
Give
year.
you that final documentation or whatever that workshop provided as far as questions, information from the public. And then we could still then, at the May meeting, make the decision, do we want it for the primary or the November?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't know if the staff can do its due diligence, have us not having been here part of it, and get something ready, and then also then have everything from the attorney's office, and then get it to the supervisor of elections office to get that final kind of quote number
By August
as to
primary.
how it looks like by May. And so, and we really need to get it done in May if you're gonna consider the August primary. My recommendation is that, in my opinion, and solely in my opinion, a general election has far better turnout and far better input from
Then a primary.
the citizens. So if we can be assured from the commission that you all are saying you prefer that November ballot, then we can have the workshop after the May meeting, which gives the attorney time. We can do that sometime later on in May, and then in the June meeting, you can make your final decisions, and we'll have pricing, and we can know what will go on the November ballot. It's just that it can't wait if you want it on that primary ballot.
I like that idea.
By consensus, we want to do that? That makes common sense. I mean,
Yes.
not to delay the charter review changes for referendum, but I think that's best in the timing and provides for the workshop. That's what I was bringing up.
So if the commissioners could look at their calendars and independently email us or text us over the next week, when in May, the second or third week or fourth week that you all would like to pick an evening to do the workshop, we will advertise it. We will have all the materials available. We'll have the language. We'll have packets for residents, and we'll be able to provide an agenda for that workshop meeting.
By consensus, everybody's okay with that?
Yes.
And tell us what day, the second or third week in May. Can't be the 4th because that's Memorial Day and we won't have participation. Yeah. I mean, we won't have citizen input, I don't think, as well, so,
Memorial Day is on Monday.
yeah.
We can have citizen input the rest of the week.
But that's the 4th week, so second or third for the workshop.
Whichever you all prefer, whatever's your availability.
Okay. But individually send them to you and then you'll,
Myself or John, just text us or email us, and then we'll collaborate.
Collaborate.
I mean, I would ask that you guys give like maybe 2 or 3 dates
choices.
that you have, and then we'll rank those where there's a commonality between them.
Okay, thank you. All right, by consensus, it's approved. Thank you. Yes.
Just a question about.
Questions regarding the attorney report or comment? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, sorry, I keep forgetting.
We're gonna have that resolved.
I just wanted to know, I think I've been waiting about 4 years. The attorney's office was supposed to do either a resolution or ordinance or something about allowing the mobile homes anywhere in Archer. It's been about 4 years since that subject has been brought up, and it was the attorney that said, we cannot, mobile homes aren't allowed anywhere in the city of Archer. I don't agree, but that's what the attorney said. So they were supposed to change everything, and I noticed I went through the codes and everything, and that still was not changed. And
I'll take this.
it's 4 years.
So we actually have a development that meets this criteria that is being considered. It's been sent to the attorney's office, it's been sent to the North Florida Regional Planning Council, and it's also been sent to our engineer of record. Staff is also making a report. Our engineer already gave us a staff report. I plan on coming back in the May meeting with the engineer, both the staff report and his, and making recommendations for changes specifically on that subject. We also have a grant that I forgot to mention tonight that we're applying for, that is the Community Redevelopment Grant. And it can be up to $100,000 at no cost and no match to the city of Archer. Its deadline is May 1st. We've already begun applying for it. We will meet that deadline with Woodard and Curran. And that grant is to do a comprehensive plan, a visioning plan, and a Main Street program, all three components. And so I plan on coming back to the commission and addressing the subject of modular mobile homes within that, and we'll make a recommendation for an ordinance to actually address that subject matter. So I don't know what's occurred in the past, but that's literally going to be on the May meeting because it's an issue that has come up with a current development.
Okay,
So you'll see something about it.
okay, great, thank you.
Anyone else? Welcome, Ms. White.
Thank you. Just to clarify something that Commissioner Fiore said and help you too. Babe Ruth has to be, the charter has to be renewed for every, like fall ball, spring ball, and if they have all-stars. So probably what you saw was all-stars in spring last year. I don't think they had fall ball. But each time they have a different,
Have to apply again.
it has to be right.
Thank you. I just know I saw a bill go out there. Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Lewandowski. It's a good exercise.
Good exercise, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Good evening again. So a question on the Friends of Archer. So has there been a resolution on this? Because I don't recall hearing a specific resolution on the Friends of Archer. So, we're going through this review and everything, and I have no issue with reviewing the documentation, but before this implementation, in my opinion, there should be a specific resolution. And as we go through that, I'd like to remind you guys that we have lots of boards that are empty. So we're talking about this board, but we have other boards that are called for in our ordinances that are empty, and the Planning Commission, I don't, there's I think one or two vacancies, one vacancy at least on the Planning Commission, and I don't think those guys have been reappointed for years, that I can recall. So so the boards have to be looked at in general, but we're focusing on this particular board, and I haven't heard a resolution on it. Thank you.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'll answer that. There has been a resolution on it. It was actually listed as the resolution that was part of my contract. The city attorney can address that. That was binding, and it was addressed in that meeting, and it meets all legal requirements as far as that, as that adoption. On the issue of the second matter that was mentioned, which it just popped out of my head, I apologize.
Planning and zoning.
Thank you. You'll see reappointments. I've got packets together. I'm going through records for the P&Z, and I'm hoping on the May agenda to have all of those as well, either reappointments or new appointments, because we have to reactivate that board, and I have full intention of that being addressed in May, and my goal is in June for us to have our P&Z meeting. It's going to be required to do some of the initiatives that we have to do. I also plan on then in June, in your meeting, being presented with your sewer advisory committee to be part of those grants and that program as we do the projects with Newberry and we invest in a collection system. And I'm hoping that they'll have their first meeting in July. So those two boards, we already have documents generated. I've got documents and records that the city's had that we found that I'm going through and studying. If any resident has information, or there are residents that were on the board and still feel like they should be on the board, please have them contact me, and we're that's one of the tasks that we're working on this month.
Okay, so I want to express concern about this thing about a committee being part of a contract for employment. So number one, that contract was, I was at that meeting, and I spoke in favor of Mr. Barber being hired on that meeting. So, there was no public presentation of the contract other than we went up there, Bob went up, got a copy of it, we kind of passed it around, and we were able to very quickly look at the contract. Any addendums to that contract were not part of the public record at that particular vote. And to me, it's just bad public policy to, as part of an employment contract, put into the record, some kind of a business plan or something like a new committee. I mean, that's not smart business. I mean, I can't imagine any company doing that, let alone us as a public body, you as a public body. So I just think it makes sense. I'm not against it, so don't get me wrong. I'm not against Friends of Archer. I'm not against any kind of a business plan, but it really needs to be put forward to the public as part of a resolution. Let's just do everything above board. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. City Finance Director written report presented by Commissioner Fiore.
Yes, so Mr. Whitehead, as I mentioned in my updates, plans on being here for a formal presentation in May. But in the packet, we got together a collection of documents. As many of the commissioners know, actually all of you know, I've been over the last month and a half trying to get each one of you integrated into different aspects of Archer. And with Commissioner Fiore's background in finance, she's been on every call that we've had with Mr. Whitehead over the past month and has been having discussions as to why we needed to do things and where we needed to go. So instead of me reporting to you, I figured it'd just be better that you hear it from a fellow commissioner. Okay. So she may not be able to answer all your questions, but any of those questions that you have tonight can be referred to Mr. Whitehead for his presentation next month.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Barber. So before I go through my presentation, I put some notes down. So if you see that I'm reading, it's because I'm trying to respect everyone's time. And I do think it's important that I go through as much detail as I possibly can. But I would actually like to go through what I wrote down. And then at the very end, I have some questions on these bills that I'm going to have to make note of. So again, thank you, Mr. Barber, for allowing me to participate. And as everyone saw tonight, Mr. Barber and Mr. Martin are trying to be extremely transparent with the information by what they told you tonight, but they also constantly are emailing this group on every little detail, which is wonderful. So we knew that they were about to hire people. We knew that where they were on the finances, how much they've gone through, what they're finding. So they're letting us know, and I'm happy that they're allowing me to share with you what I've learned. So thank you, Mr. Martin, for immediately assessing the need for our financial crisis here with the city. And by hiring Mr. Whitehead, that's the very first step. I, as well as the other citizens, have been begging for some financial oversight of the city and even offered free services that the commission denied and staff denied. So I'm so grateful and thankful that we're finally moving forward with some useful information. So the first item going through the agenda is Mr. Whitehead had provided the January 2026 bank statement with his reconciliation. And if you're following along on page 4, he has there his reconciliation. And there's some things that I want to point out to you. You'll see that there is over $100,000 of outstanding deposits and over $36,000 of checks and debits that are outstanding. That means that they have not been put through QuickBooks, but you're seeing them appear on the statement. So entries not made in QuickBooks. We're a very small organization, and that's a large number to not have entered in your QuickBooks yet. He's reconciled the general fund bank statement with an ending balance of $274,674, which includes $3,186,000 of outstanding deposits and about $1,500 in outstanding checks. So those two numbers, they actually have been put into QuickBooks. They just have not yet flown through your bank statement yet. On page 9, Looking through the bank statement, which I'm glad we had a copy of it, I can't wait to get the remainder of the year. You'll see that there was a payment to Folds Walker for $10,000, and historically, every month, that payment should just be around $5,000. I reached out to Mr. Barber immediately, and he was able to confirm that that payment is for both January and February. I'm not allowed to,
I don't know where you're at.
oh, page 9 in the backup.
The very bottom.
Yep, there's page numbers on the bottom of the statements, and you'll see it says page 9. Second to last entry on the bank statement.
Harris Bank?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and then it's 10th, yep, okay. So Mr. Barber was able to confirm that that was, again, January and February's payment, so that was good. Moving on through the reconciliation, if you go to page 13, this is where you're seeing the ledger from QuickBooks. You can ignore, though, that balance of $612,000. I guarantee you that is not the fund balance in the general fund. So Mr. Whitehead is still working on the FY 24-25 general ledger, and we're already halfway through the fiscal year 26 budget cycle, but nothing can be done until you have your 24-25 ledger completed, and that's what he's working on, and he's working hard on that, but that has to get done before he can start doing 26. So I'm glad that we're seeing a little piece of this financial reconciliation in the general fund. We all know that we have multiple funds, but he's working through an entire year of 2025, having to put everything into the ledger for 2025 and working up to 2026. He's working fast, I can tell you that. He has other people helping him in his office. It's not just him laboring over this. So he is aware that there's a time crunch. And so hopefully, and Mr. Barber's already mentioned it, that when he meets with us next month, he can maybe give you a better timeline on when he feels that he can get up to date with first 24-25 and then finally reconciling through 2026. So then his report starts on page 14. So this is his update that he wants to share with you. I've already mentioned that he's working on the ledger for 24-25. That's the priority that has to be done first. He's had to correct W-2s for 2025. They were incorrect. They were mailed out with incorrect numbers. And the reason being that QuickBooks was not calculating your Social Security and Medicare correctly. He noted that even some employees did not even have any FICA deductions. So imagine that. You actually got a paycheck and there was absolutely no taxes withdrawn out of that paycheck, and it was not a red flag for neither staff or employees. That's very concerning. The 941 payroll taxes, the taxes may have been paid even though they were incorrectly paid because, again, the FICA was not being calculated correctly. But there's another form. You just don't pay the payment. You have to fill out a 941 report. So he's had to complete those for the entire fiscal year of 2025. He had to repost payroll by each quarter. He's correcting the FICA, so what's going to happen is those employees that pay too much, the city is going to have to reimburse them. And for the under-collecting FICA taxes, then the city is going to actually have to pay those taxes, so it's going to be due. Since he's been on, he had to recalculate all the tax liabilities for 2025. He was able to access Ameris Bank. He has read only, but he's now able to actually see our bank statements and records. He now has access to our general ledger, and he has access to view the 941 transcripts from 2023 through 2026. And that's an important note because he's not just looking at 2 years. He can't. He had to go back even further to make sure that those items were correct. And in doing so, he discovered that 2024 W-2s were incorrect. So therefore, not only is he submitting W-2 Cs for 25, he's also having to do them for 24. And what does that mean for your employees here? That means that they're going to have to do a revised tax return. It may not be a big deal for some people, but it may be for others. And I don't know what the tax burden, meaning what the city owes those employees for overcharging for FICA. That number hasn't been given to us yet. He notes that the first quarter for 2026, 941 is due the report by 4:30, so he plans on doing that. He's trying to get through the bank statement reconciliations for 24 and 25. The steps first, you have to get everything into the ledger so you can reconcile from the ledger, so he's working on that. He's trying to work to get AP up to date. And he really stresses the need that the city must outsource its payroll, and I totally agree with that. That should not be done in-house, and I know that's going to be on the agenda in a couple of minutes here. He's continuously working with the city manager to determine any additional items that are necessary to focus on. Then if you turn the page to page 16, here's where he provided you with a schedule for 941s. And what he's showing you, again, page 16, that the third quarter of 2023, that's fiscal year 2023, we're in currently fiscal year 2026, we did not have the proper taxes paid and we were $26,000 non-paid taxes from that fiscal year, and resulting in penalties of $584 and interest expenses of $1,600. Then he's showing you that everything seemed to be okay for the first quarter of 23. Then 24, something happened where perhaps maybe the FICA wasn't being calculated correctly, but the tax, or it was just late, because there was a penalty of over $5,000 that the city had to pay for that quarter. 24 looked to be out fourth quarter of 24 looked to be okay, and then you hit fiscal year 25 where every single quarter had an error. So in October or January of 2025, for some reason the city decided to deposit $40,000 for the FICA taxes. It's a round number, $40,000. That resulted in actually having overpaid for the FICA for that first quarter of 2025. And then he's showing you that the following quarters, you see that FICA calculation that was incorrect, therefore you owed taxes for those additional 3 quarters. The total amount still due after you had that credit overpayment of $40,000 in the first quarter is still $6,126.47. That's still due to get you up to date through fiscal year 25 fourth quarter. The baffling thing on this page also that really bothers me is that for these 8 quarters that he represents here, that's 24 months worth of data, the city is going to be charged and paid most of this already, but a total of $22,359.29 in penalties and interest expenses. That's a lot of money. So if you do the math, that's 2.5% of your total general fund revenue for fiscal year 2026. So I'm trying to put it in perspective. Those are big numbers. We don't have that kind of revenue stream, and it has a huge impact on this organization. And these are penalties. The fact that the FICA tax has been calculating incorrectly, I've been told that this was a known issue, and when that was known, no more paychecks should have ever been processed until it was fixed. And the fact that that was allowed to continue and allow W-2s to be put out the door is upsetting to me. I don't understand that. And the last thing on his report, which I'm really proud, I think it's very transparent, and I appreciate it very much, and I'm very happy to be a part of. If you go to page 24, that's where you see that $40,000 random deposit that made for that credit. So I say all that, I know some of it sounds negative, but we're finally moving in the right direction. This hiring of Mr. Whitehead, is it Whitehead? Yes. I think since I've been following the city of Archer over these last couple of years has been like one of the best things that's happened to us. I have not seen any additional effort for financing, besides the time that we had Mr. Lee on board for a little bit. So he's done a lot in this short period of time, and I thank Mr. Martin and I thank Mr. Barber for knowing that they needed that type of help and that they're gonna continue to use him. I think it's gonna be wonderful. So we are on track, we're moving. I think we're gonna see a lot of progress. But I do have some questions with these bills that I didn't get to look through until this afternoon. So Mr. Barber, in case anyone missed it, he had made comment that he personally purchased a stamp. And so every time a bill comes through the door, the person recording that bill, opening that bill, needs to stamp it. They need to date it when the date was received, the employee requesting it, the reason for this bill, if there's a PO number, what account number to apply that bill to, charge the bill to, and it also has a department head approval that maybe be future use. So here are my questions, and I'm sorry to put you on the spot. There's a qualified plumbing bill. The date of the invoice is 2/19/2026, yet date received, it shows 4/1/2026. So maybe there was a pile of bills on somebody's desk and they were just opening them late, but I would really like to make sure that that date received is in some type of alignment with the date that these invoices are actually being submitted. I mean, that's a couple months difference, and I just think that seems odd to me. The ACE finance charges constantly every month seemed very excessive to me. I don't understand why there would be that many finance charges on such small bills. There's an Amazon business charge for a $44.99, and the explanation is a laminator machine. I mean, I think I know what that is. You take a piece of paper and put lamination, okay. All right, just making sure. I wasn't sure what we needed it for. Again, the timing of the property tax bills, there's no way that we only got these in March, and they're dated that they were received on March 23rd. I want that date to be more accurate. As everyone knows, we got the restitution from the theft, and therefore we have to pay back the insurance money that we received. That's been very transparent. But there's a big note on this invoice that says take out of the water fund. That is not correct. So everyone knows, this $14,000 went directly into the general fund and is posted to the general fund on 10/6/25. So that's where it went. It did not go to the water fund. So we want to make sure that we're taking it out of the right fund. And then, if anyone's paying attention, there's 3 quarters worth of invoices for the public risk management. This is our property workers' comp insurance. We talked about this during the 2026 budget process, where Mr. Lee was able to find us a cheaper rate, and it saved us a couple $1,000s. I know these invoices look large to you, but the big question is, why were we holding on to them? So we have the first quarter, according to this, it was received on 10/3. We're still sitting on it. It's now April, so now we have 2 additional quarters added on top to that. I did the math. The quarterly payment is $20-some thousand, and looks like they have a one-time agent fee that they charge us, and that was $8,200. So your total for the year should be $90,000, a little over $90,000. And I looked at prior years with our prior insurance company and the FMIS, I think it was called. I could be wrong on that. Thank you. And that was $108,541. So according to these invoices, there is a savings to the city. We just need to pay them on time. So with that, I don't know if you wrote notes to be able to answer any of that, but thank you.
So my answer to a lot of that, and I can be more specific in detail, but a lot of that is things that you're mentioning. A lot of times they didn't know if they could pay something because whether or not a bank account would actually have a balance. This is how fractured the finances were. So when I came in 2 months ago now, and John came in a month before that, Both of our policy was we weren't going to authorize payment on something until we understood fundamentally a little bit more about whether or not we were writing bad checks. And so that's really the answer to your question. We are the ones, I primarily am the one, I'm responsible for telling them, I don't want to see stuff going out the door. We have to get a basic understanding of where we are in finances. You know, it's kind of like taking on water in your bilge tank, but not realizing whether or not that little bit that you took on was going to finally sink the ship. We're getting there, as you've shown, and now that we have a fundamental, more, a stronger understanding. For example, he gave us a fund balance after all the funds that he was aware of $274,000. I would say that we also have another $52,956.26 that is encumbered in our water fund for bills that you're seeing here, which were not included in his report. And then the general fund has $46,677.76. So that's another $99,634.02. So we have just below $200,000 actually once you calculate everything. So that those are the numbers that we're working through, and we're trying to make sure that as far as the ACE, John and I will definitely look at that. We're making changes, but until an issue comes up, it's so hard to know what to triage. So you've brought up ACE. It gives us an idea that we need to really buckle down, analyze that, look at that. I am sure that the policy has been for the staff. If you're out there in the field and you're making a repair or you're doing something, you need to go and get the materials you need to resolve the issue. I'm sure that's been it. We may not be able to have that policy. We may need more fiscal austerity, and we may need to say, no, you need to bring it to John or you need to bring it to myself, at least a phone call or a text or something. Allow us the opportunity to see whether or not we actually agree with that finance. I don't want to micromanage on that level. I'm going to be very honest with you. We have capable people in the field who know how to fix things. I don't want to get to that point, but if that's necessary, we'll put those stopgaps in place and inform you, the commission, of that. In the meantime, I know there are things getting through. I know that this is not a complete change as to what it needs to be, but it was in such a state that in 2 months, I don't believe we could have done any better. I really do believe that. I really do believe we're moving in the right direction. And again, we're going to continue to put out, I think the residents, they said, hey, where's the invoices and the receipts from January and February? We got those added onto the packet. So we plan on doing more of this at every meeting, and we're going to get there. But we're learning as well. I mean, I've never been in a city where there was an ordinance that stated that I had to bring you guys receipts. Because honestly, you're not really approving anything because we have to pay bills that come in legally. So although you see them and you go and you question them, that's great. I have no problem with that. Neither one of us are familiar with that process, so it just took a minute to adjust to that. We're learning every day more about how Archer works, how the residents have feelings toward, and we're going to adjust. We're going to trunch along and do those adjustments. But I can be more specific through email, so it's documented if you want to list those specific questions. Some of those are going to involve needing to question a staff member. Some of those are going to involve needing to talk to Mr. Whitehead. But overall, anybody that sends me anything in writing, including residents, we will do our absolute level best to address those and then produce results or the answers to what those questions are.
And I appreciate that, and thank you for the explanation. And I know that you have been, so thank you. I do have one additional question. So these bills in front of us, do you plan on processing these all in this next month?
Now that I have a balance from Mr. Whitehead, and we've had discussions, the other discussion is he's supposed to get to me in the next day or so. The salaries for these new employees have got to be put into the budget and make sure that they're not going to in any way harm the city overall. I mean, we had budgeted positions, don't get me wrong, but once you figure out, I want a letter from him. How I'm doing it is, when we have an expense that we're asking to incur, I want a letter from the finance director to report to the commission, to report to the residents on the record of, I do not believe that the funds are insufficient to fund this initiative or this salary or whatever the case may be. And that's marching toward producing a budget in a couple of months for you all to what the next fiscal year looks like. We just want to be in those good habits of, this is the way the process is, you have to verify, trust is good, but trust is better when it's verified on a continual basis.
Proper forecasting.
So that's what we're working toward.
Any other questions from the commission?
I was just gonna try to answer. One of the problems you have with the billing of ACE all the time is, from what I can tell, it's been quite a while. And when I say quite a while, I have no idea how far it's been back, that you really had an on-hand, parts inventory where, because there's certain things they do routinely that are like fixing a water, they don't like me to say the L word, so I'll say a water issue. They say I jinx them when I say that, but they don't have a lot of parts on hand. So they have a problem. Well, they have to go somewhere to get the part. Well, ACE, and this is not a knock on them, if they have it, is going to be higher than some of these other entities. So one of the things we've got to get a better handle on, and it just takes time, because there was so much to focus on here, I quite frankly have not focused as much time as I'd like to normally in my position outside. We need to get an inventory of what we have, what we routinely need, and we need to order that stuff in bulk and have it on hand. That, from what I can tell, has not been done. So they're literally working, and I'm not being critical of them, but they're literally having to work hand to mouth, so to speak, going down and getting what they need on a daily basis from ACE. No knock on them, but that's not the efficient way to do it. And then the other thing, I think you mentioned about Quality Plumbing. There were two invoices from them. One was kind of an emergency because we had the septic system was backing up at the community center right prior, literally to
the repass.
Ms. Lopez's memorial service, so we had to handle that. They had to do a few things before they could figure out that that was it, the drain fill, and we had to actually get that pumped out by somebody else. But then the second invoice, so I don't know why they billed that one so late, but the second one was for the repairs at the ballpark. So they're two separate incidences. Why that first one was billed so late, I think it just kind of fell through the cracks, but I wouldn't read too much into that myself.
No, and the only thing with the ACE, it's just the reoccurring finance charges. It's not the usage that I'm complaining.
Yeah, and this will be part of building a healthy budget, you know, understanding from them, tracking it, and looking back at the banking records with Mr. Whitehead's help. How much money did we spend with Ford, which is a supplier? You know, how much money did we spend with a couple of the pipe companies? And, you know, what has traditionally been the stock in the past? I think what happened is when the city went upside down, you know, a year or so ago in finances, there was just a stop to purchasing. And so because you don't buy those, you know, you don't buy 100 gate valves as opposed to buying one at a time at ACE, it does get rather expensive. So that is true to a large degree. So we will do our best to work on that.
Okay, anyone else from the commission? Questions regarding this report? From the public, any comments or questions regarding the update from J&S Accounting? And Commissioner Fiore, thank you.
Here. Lori Costello. Yeah, I seen where they went to ACE, you know, anywhere from 2 to 4 times a day, but that's always been for years. We do have a huge inventory. Calvin should have that. They used to do it quarterly.
Yeah, we've taken tours of the barns. I haven't seen huge inventories.
Oh, okay. Well, on paper it's huge.
Well, again, that needs to be every year. There should be our own internal audit of parts and supplies and all of those things, and that's one of the other large list of items that we need to catch up on, to be certain.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when the guy from Newberry, what was his name again?
Dallas Lee?
Dallas, yes. He said that the receipts, like from Ace Hardware, whoever buys it should initial it and put down what job that was for. I don't see that done. I haven't seen it done, and that was presented to us like last December or so. It was quite some time ago. And it was presented to the commission. Everybody agreed that that was going to be done. So I don't know whether anybody has the notes. He even had, in his presentation, he had copies from Newberry to exactly what they did to show us. Also, the workstations. We just updated 3 new workstations 2 to 3 years ago. How often does a workstation need replaced?
So in ways of security, I would tell you that it's important for technology to be updated on a frequent basis. But I will tell you that you had 2 new employees that started, myself and Mr. Martin. And I'm sorry, I can't be attached to a desktop. I mean, I'm all over.
Yeah.
So the laptop and how it was done, we made sure it was the most affordable way to do it. But this allows me to work remote. I can assure the residents and the commission that both myself and Mr. Martin have put in far more
Oh, I know.
than 20 hours every week.
Yeah.
And I don't mean each of us, I mean like, no, I do mean each of us, not collectively. So I listen to the problems. We are here for those. We're fixing those. But I will tell you all, there is only so much time in the day. And that's the problem that we're running into. I know that the issues that are existing and that you all are concerned about, but we physically are as fast as we can fixing the ones that we feel are the most, important and the most critical, to then get those put away and then move on to the next one. So that's my answer to that.
Yeah, I was just wondering how often they update it, but now I understand you went to laptop instead of computer desk. Okay.
Part of his contract also.
So is there a total in unpaid bills? I don't know whether y'all said that, I might have missed.
99,634.02 cents is the encumbered outstanding of the 274,000.
Okay.
Wrap it
So-
up, Ms. Costello, you have less than a minute.
Oh, okay, so we're still getting late fees and finance charges, I see. And is there oversight on those bills? I noticed not all of them had a stamp, not all the stamps were completely filled out. My last one was, when is Archer going to start paying its own water bill? We would have a lot more in the water fund if Archer was paying their own water bill, but we haven't in years. And that concerns me. When do we have a time frame? Do we know how much we owe to our water fund? Have any idea?
We've never done
Yeah.
that in my tenure of commissioner, nor yours when you were vice mayor and mayor, I don't believe, where the funding was actually transferred to it. But we can certainly just duly noted, and in our budget process for this upcoming year, consider that and see how that would be
I used to get
plausible.
I used to get the city water bills, and it said paid on it, so whatever you did behind the
They're
scenes.
generated, but they're not funds transferred from one to the other. No, ma'am.
Really? Okay, well, that's
Never was
weird,
it.
because they have a regular bill, and they say paid,
Like the cemetery and the number of thousands of gallons when there's a leak.
and that
it's
was
generated.
never
That-
taken out, never paid.
No, ma'am. Time is up. Like I said,
Okay, thank
we
you.
will consider it in the budget as a plausible consideration.
And can I say something, Mr. Mayor, before our next person come up? Let's get back to the way we're supposed to allow the citizens to have their 3 minutes to speak. They can't, when they come up, they can't just answer question. That's not fair to everybody else that have comments. Make your comments, then allow them to answer. Or he already gave out his office times. You can get with Mr. Barber at another time, but just standing there and asking questions and want to answer, asking questions, it's not fair to everybody else. So I think we need to get back to the way we're supposed to be doing it, and somebody needs to set a timer. Thank you. Somebody.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. Gene Arnold. Commissioner Fiore, you got your fastball tonight. I am impressed. But yet I'm blown away. So I'm not going to ask you a bunch of questions because I'm going to have to go back and listen to everything that you said just to digest all of that. But I hope that you would expand a little bit more, because every one of y'all should be, I don't even know what the adjective is, disappointed. The Tony and Cindy show, I think for one, was an absolute comedy show. And legally, you should be going after them for incompetence, whatever you can do. It is not paying taxes and penalties, and how they put the city in such a financial, the more you dig and the more you do a forensic audit, the worse it looks. Now, with that said, if you're writing paychecks, and I don't know who was doing that, but whoever was should be fired, okay? Gone. They should not work for the city of Archer if they're still here. Now, it could just be we're talking about the Cindy and Tony show that I don't know exactly, but that is terrible. And you don't even know the extent of how much money we're going to have to pay at this point, correct? We're still treading water on the $900,000 loan. We just pay $5,000 or so a month in interest, correct? Page 13, it's in portrait, it's not in landscape. I keep asking, put it in landscape view, show some details of what those things are, you know. The trips to ACE, I applaud what you said. Shouldn't be making 2 or 3 trips every single day, day in, day out. You're not getting any work done if you're just running ACE every day. So you want to stock up on things. That's, I would disagree. We saw about the presentation. I don't want to see a presentation. I hope I don't come and see a PowerPoint show from this guy who's doing a good job, because we saw that with Dallas Lee. And I thought it was really neat. He had a bunch of charts and graphs, but he didn't reconcile any bank statements. Let's have this guy bank reconciliation and get into the books and show me some financial data, show me some audits. I don't want to see a bunch of pie charts. So I hope that's not going to be on his agenda for that presentation. Computers. We don't have any money. I don't know how we're spending $3,000, $3,800 on computers. I'm sorry, I just don't. If you don't have money, don't write checks. There's so many more. I don't want to take up too much time, other than I do think that there are some positives. There's a lot more transparency, which is refreshing. There's a lot more things to look at, which is fantastic. But yet, you know, still there's not a good QuickBooks of a P&L, of a balance sheet. All those things are just general. Commissioner Fiore knows from GRU and what she does over there. These are fundamental, basic things to look at the health of your organization and where you stand. And we're still, I don't know if we've seen it in years since I've been coming, to have any grasp of how bad it is. So anytime I hear some of these things and I see this information, I just think this is so bad. But hopefully we are moving in the right direction. We're going to find who all the bad actors were, and maybe there's something can be done by it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, Ms. White.
Joan White, are y'all as ashamed as I am? You should be. I looked through the bills paid. I haven't seen Sam Clark's name at all. And that was from January, I think.
I've signed the February and the March payment to him.
Okay, well, in January, did he get paid for January?
Yes.
Because for some reason, he gets left out every time we get a new account. So that was it.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lori's right. It's always been that the money, that the water bill came out of the general fund to the water fund. It pays a bill just like we do.
You're welcome.
Bill Langowski, citizen. So I completely agree that it's great, all the work that Karen's done and Mr. Barber's done, moving forward with that, so that's all good stuff. I would like to remind you, again, as part of form, is that you authorized a salary. When you hired Mr. Barber, you didn't authorize anything else. I was here for that. So if there's any other expenses, any other things that are part of that contract, it needs to be brought forward. Because I keep on hearing bits and pieces. Well, there's a business plan, there's this, and that, there's computers have to be purchased. I don't begrudge that, but I like to see that transparency. Because it really upsets me that I'm hearing these things, bits and drabs, as they come out. So let's get everything on the table. What is it that we agreed to do, and let's have that open discussion. Okay, second thing is, I completely understand how things are all screwed up. But I would like to see at least some sort of interim reporting that says where we are vis-a-vis the budget. So, what was the budget supposed to be? Where are we at now? And I understand that we don't have exact numbers for that. So I get that. But we ought to have some idea of where we're at as we're looking at things. Even if it's wrong, at least we know that there's assumptions with that.
Okay.
And in particular, I would also like to see, because I think it's really important, the long-term liabilities, the $900,000. Where are we at with our long-term liabilities? Because I think that's also really important to keep in front of the commission. If you look at the charter review that we did, the recommendations, there's instructions to the city manager and what we will be expecting in the future, the kind of reports. Now, you can't do them all now. You don't have all the information, but that charter recommendations has it in there and what this commission will expect in the future, if that's passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Fiore, Commissioner Fiore. City boards, I don't think we have anyone.
I just wanted to memorialize that you're going to start seeing that on the agenda as the planning board comes back. I'm going to ask them to just do updates. The sewer committee, the Friends of Archer, we're just going to make sure that that's appointed at some point in the agenda.
I just have one question with that towards Madam Attorney. Can the way it's outlined now with the Friends of Archer and that board, if a current member of the Planning and Zoning wants to jointly be a part of the Friends of Archer, they can
Yes,
apply?
yes, they
Because
can.
that's been asked of me, and I just wanted to bring it up public, transparent tonight, so they can be
Yes.
on multiple boards. Okay, thank you. All right, commissioners, I guess this is our report update, where it normally is at the end. Okay.
Anything that the three commissioners have, and then, of course, after that, the vice mayor and
Fire
yourself.
Mayor, okay. Commissioner Penny, anything to report for the good of the country? And yourself?
I had the pleasure of going Saturday night to a gala for the Zetas, which we have, I think it's like 12 people from Archer that is a part of that organization. And that night alone, extra, they raised like $5,000 for scholarships. And so it was a pleasure to be invited out again. But like I said, that's one organization, and they also usually kind of help with back to schools, and they also have help with Christmas thing that Archer and Phillips Lodge put on. But like I said, it was like, I want to at least 12 people from Archer that's a part of that organization. So it was good to go. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I did.
Okay. Commissioner Green?
I can't think of anything.
Yeah, nothing? Commissioner Fiore, anything other than the financial report?
No, but I'll keep going with financials. So, I am really big on budget. That's my baby. I want to be in compliance with budget all the time. I'm big about not spending. I was the one that's recommended that we hire part-time manager for the fiscal year 26. The idea was that if you had staff, support staff that could support a strong manager, a part-time would probably be enough for this size organization. We've now seen, we have two part-timers, but unfortunately, they're not working part-time, and Mr. Barber brought this up a couple minutes ago. They're working an extremely, way more than 20 hours. They're probably working more than 40 hours each of them. And I think this commission, in the very, very near future, maybe journal it for the next meeting, we need to have a discussion on, are we going to reimburse and pay for the employees for more of the hours that they're working? I know that Mr. Martin's been in this office multiple times by himself, with no staff to help him for many days. I know they're trying to work on a schedule where they're piggybacking off of hours, but you have Barber emailing in the middle of the night, instead of spending time with his kids. And I'm appreciative of everything that they're doing, but I think we need to come all together, decide if we're going to reimburse at a different, not rate, but more hours. And I think we need to have that discussion. So if everyone is okay with that, I would like to at least put that on to the agenda for next month and ask both of them to keep track of their time so that we have a better picture of how many hours. So that's what I wanted to update on.
By consensus, you all want that as an agenda item for the May meeting to discuss? Just for planning ahead? Or consider it for the budgetary process. That's the other alternative, in my mind, so. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I can say it can be on the agenda for next month to kind of tally up how many hours they're going over the 20 hours together to see what we can do about that.
Okay. Vice Mayor, you okay? By consensus, just to consider it as an agenda item?
I don't know if I have any say, but I certainly, since this is probably my last meeting, I'll be stepping down the next, at the next meeting. But I would like to say I thank the both of them very much. They do an awesome job with keeping us updated and posted on every single thing. And I thank you all for the awesome work that you're doing so far here in our city. And again, I'll be stepping down, but hopefully you all will continue to do the great job that you're both doing. And so if it's, within our budget to be able to do so, I won't have a vote in the matter, but I'm going to say it now. If I did have a vote, I would definitely vote yes on that.
Okay. We'll agenda that for next meeting then by consensus. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Vice Mayor, anything?
I haven't been anywhere except, I went to an event, I cannot remember the name of it, but it was pretty much a women's event for Women's History Month with Mayor Randall, Jackie Randall from Hawthorne. But I am scheduled to meet with Jeannie Rickman at Cat Cammett's office with Mr. Barber this week, and I believe it's Thursday. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about some things that we want to do for the city to bring in and how we can get the state to fund it.
Okay. Thank you. All right, myself, I think it was a successful, but less than 1% of the population of citizens came to our workshop and town hall meeting or whatever, but good participation, good information provided. The packets are there, and thank you for copying those for anyone and putting them it's on the website as well. Good information. It's not a fact sheet, question answer yet, but it's certainly updated information specific to the wastewater and water grant projects and improvements that we have to look forward to. Second, larger attendance than I thought, but we had Easter sunrise service for the community. historically at the city-owned Laurel Hill Cemetery on Easter morning, had about 55 people attending. And it wasn't advertised except for the week before, so and we had multiple sunrise services in the community with all our 13 interdenominational churches, so I thought that was well attended for a last-minute marketing blitz. And then I continue to represent Archer in the North Central Florida Planning Council. It's just an Archer Representative Commission member in that. And I have something on the new business, a resolution that was passed by the 12 counties and the 45 municipalities are all reaching out to address this First Water North Florida water restoration project that was created by St. John's River Water Management. I'll speak to that as the added agenda item, and that's all I have. So. All right, item 3, consent agenda is the resolution for the FDOT traffic light agreement, pages 31 and 33. Mr. Barber, you want to speak to that?
No, sir, it's a consent agenda, so if you guys want discussion, we can pull it off, but.
Okay. We're going to vote for all those items at once.
A and B, resolution 2026-21, the FDOT traffic light agreement, pages 31 through 33, and the resolution 2026-24, that's the Archer Braid Trail interlocal agreement, page 34 through 36. That is a standard county grant program. It's no cost to the city. They just need a document from us to proceed further on developing that trail. And then again, the traffic lighting agreement is something that's a yearly agreement that we're required to either provide the lighting and they set the amount, or we take down the lights. I mean, that's really the other option.
You were speaking to earlier. The only question I have, I mean, if we're going to do it by consensus, is on the trail agreement. Right now, we have the 1.1 mile from the water tank going east as a maintenance requirement in that interlocal agreement. I would presume that we're going to maintain then from as it crosses 2745 into downtown Archer, we'll have that maintenance in that interlocal agreement to maintain.
My understanding is that with all the trail programs, that if it's within your city limits, you do have an agreement to do some maintenance.
All right. So
it's basic maintenance, but yes, sir.
Public record that, as we expand the rails to trails, we will have that maintenance responsibility as it goes into the city limits to the Historical Society depot.
So I have a question on that.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
that's where it's going? It's going from the water tower, it's gonna go across the street, and it's gonna come all the way into
And
Depot?
stop at Southwest 170th.
Okay, thank you.
Through the CSX right away, through the woods here, but it'll be directly on the north side of the Historical
Okay, thanks.
Society train depot. Yes, ma'am. And stop at 170th.
I move that we approve the consent agenda, or adopt.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A second from Commissioner Green. Any other discussion from the dais? Sorry, I discussed before we had the motion. My apologies. Any discussion of the consent agenda or questions from the audience? The 2 items that we've just reviewed. Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of the consent agenda, resolution 2026-21 and resolution 2026-24, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Nays like sign. Hearing none, motion is approved 5-0. New business, City Finance Director written report, discussion with possible action, approval by consensus. We've kind of already covered that.
All we're looking for is, I think, according to the spirit of the ordinance that's in, that you guys give consensus that you've received the report, and this is your opportunity to finalize if you have any requests for the staff to get back to the finance director.
Okay. Again, the only message I have is just reconcile, get us a reconciliation so we're getting closer to P&L review and a balance sheet. Thank you. Next, discussion with possible action, the MSTU fire assessment with Alachua County on page 37. This has an urgent deadline.
Yes, sir.
for
If
us to act on.
there's going to be a decision to rescind that agreement, we do need to make that decision today so that a resolution can be drafted.
Yes, sir.
Just brief history, we currently pay, and I apologize for the title, it should have said Fire and Law Enforcement MSTU at the title, and I missed that on the title. But in the body of the description of the document, it does go through and talks about the $149,476.80 and the $164,090.42 for the law enforcement side. And this is really dealing with the adequacy, structure, and long-term sustainability of those public safety funding obligations. For comparative text, it was noted that the city of Newberry pays approximately $1.5 million, but that's for a dedicated force through the Alachua County Sheriff's Office. Archer's current law enforcement MSTU is substantially less than what has been previously reported. While the service model, staffing level, and deployment expectations may differ, the comparison is useful to frame a policy for you all to discuss regarding this. The agenda item is intended to allow you, the City Commission, to discuss the city's current MSTU and fire assessment obligations, whether those amounts remain appropriate for the level of service desired by the community and the Commission, and then to provide staff a direction immediately for how you wish to proceed. If you want more information on this, I believe Commissioner Fiore did delve into this as well a little bit, if she has anything to add. But again, I understand that there's concern and that we want to save money for the residents wherever we can, and I don't have a dog in this fight. So my only recommendation is that you consider the long term. There's the property tax discussion, as I mentioned last month, that's before the state. Something will happen in the special session, I'm sure, for a referendum in July. And of course, this could alter on the county side how they deal with the city. But again, that is something that you all have to calculate and decide amongst yourselves. Whatever way you all want to proceed on that, let us know, and we'll do our best to facilitate that. Thank you.
Just for the procedure, I'll entertain a motion to consider this, and then we can have full discussion. And that is opting out of the MSTU is basically what is on the table.
You want to make a motion to opt out?
To opt out and then have full discussion and then go to a vote.
For discussion, so, for
Yes,
discussion.
for discussion, so, yes.
So moved for discussion.
All right. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it for discussion.
For discussion. Okay.
I wanted to make a comment on it, if I may, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's full discussion.
So the fire protection services, I made note of it, and you can find it yourself, as a city without its own independent fire rescue service, where we would have to provide our own fire services. We can't just stop with Alachua County without proving that we are able to do that on our own. So I don't see how that's really even on the table. Especially since it's costing our residents what we're collecting is that 49. And as far as the fire or the police services, I don't think we're in a position with that as well to even stop that. So I agree that if we were to say, hey, Alachua, we're done with you, we're just going to go with however long it takes you to come to our services, I think that is bad blood with the county. I don't want to see us go through that until we're in a financial situation where we can give it an alternative. Hey, we want to do our own, so therefore we're going to leave you. That's one thing, but for $164,000 that it's costing the residents, I can't see that we can do much better than that at this point in time.
Mr. Mayor, I agree. I think that we just need to go ahead and agree to keep this and not try to opt out.
Commissioner Penny?
I agree with it also, and I'm trying to find an email that Jordan Marlowe sent me, and he said from our meeting, some of the things that we were saying that Newberry didn't do he totally disagreed with it. That's not what Newberry is doing or paying. So, but I think, like I had said then, I think we need to stay with them until the tax thing come up, or to see how it's gonna fall, cause we're gonna need them. And I don't want any, like, she was saying, I don't want any bad blood with them, and I wanna make sure our city is protected. So I'm for to keeping it, to staying with them. I can't.
Vice Mayor?
Hi. So Newberry does pay a significant amount. I talked to Jordan as well, that we cannot afford. And yes, we can't afford bad blood. I remember when I first got on the board, we weren't, and I don't know if we didn't have the MSTU at the time, but for some reason, we didn't have the fire department, and that caused a lot of issues, and by the time we got back connected with them, it was a different fee. So, I do agree. I didn't know how much it was going to, cost. And so this information is good information, because that's what we were trying to find out. Would it be a good idea to step away? But if it's gonna cost more, then that's not the best idea. So with that being said, I will rescind my motion, and I will motion that we keep or continue the MSTU. And I don't remember who's second, but
Do you want to amend your second to keep the MSTU?
Yes, I will amend mine as well to keep the MSTU.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to keep both the fire and the sheriff's office MSTU protection. Any further discussion? The only discussion I have is I think we're in a financial recovery position that it's gonna come back to us through legislation soon enough anyway, not to create bad blood, but certainly to assist with financial recovery, but that's just my opinion, my position, so that's all I have. So, anyone else, any discussion for the new motion to keep the MSTU, both fire and police protection, sheriff protection? Hearing none, any discussion or comments from the constituents in the audience regarding that? To keep the MSTU?
Gene Arnold.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, and I think Commissioner Bailey tried to find out what they do. That no one could explain what services they provide, what they wouldn't provide. It's just, we're gonna give them money and keep them happy. And maybe that's the way to go. I have no idea. But what I do know is when Dallas Lee came here and he was assessing a variety of things and helped and said, hey, you should use this insurance carrier, you'll save money. And he said, you probably need to get out of the
MSTU.
He said that. And he said, what it allows you to do is that Newberry, they still hire the sheriff, and they can arrange the parameters.
Negotiate.
So, negotiate, thank you. They can say, you're gonna have someone in our zone, if you will, all the time. Whereas in Archer, they don't have to be in our zone. There's nothing that says that they have to do much of anything other than we're gonna give them part of our taxes.
And the resource office to have. And the
But-
substation for the fire department.
Do they still use that substation? I don't see them there that often, but maybe they are. So I hear what you're saying, and I think we probably do have, bigger fish to fry right now type thing, but it certainly was something we talked about almost a year ago, and we missed the window. And when Chad Scott was here, and it even came up, and he didn't know. So we're not trying to upset anyone, but it was just, hey, because you raised the millage rates and maxed them out pretty much, we were gonna come back and look at that to see about dropping it for the overall. Do you remember that discussion we had?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am, Ms. Skinner.
Brenda Skinner, citizen. I remember that discussion. But I also remember that one of the things that they can do, if we don't do this, is they can say, okay, we have ambulances sitting out here. We have a fire department sitting out here. And if we have an emergency, right now, they can get to the city of Archer fairly quickly. But if we decide not to do this, they can also decide to pull those fire engines and to pull those ambulances and to move them anywhere else where they have the need and leave it empty. I don't know about the rest of you, but I have family here that's elderly. I know a lot of people in this town who are elderly. In my block alone, there are 12 people who are between the ages of 65 and 100. If any one of them needs an ambulance, they need it to get there quickly. Right now, with the way the weather is, if somebody decides to flick a match, I want that fire engine to get there quickly. Twice, we've had people come to our house with the intent, well, once with the intent to rob, and the second time they didn't. We needed the sheriff there. We needed him there quickly. And if we don't have law enforcement, okay, where are you? Archer? Yeah, we'll send somebody when we get a chance.
We'll be there tomorrow.
Exactly. I personally, no, I don't want to pay that money right now. But I need to know that somebody's going to respond. We had their backs. I want them to have ours. And I want to know that my mother is safe when I make that 911 call.
Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Lewandowski.
Yeah, so I'm a little disappointed that we still don't know what the services provide. We've talked about it, I don't know if we actually extended an invitation to these guys to come down and tell us. I mean, I would think that for, it's not a lot of money, but it is to me, that they should, at least somebody should come down and say, even if we say yes, even if you guys say yes, we're going to do it, somebody should invite them to come down and say, this is what you're getting for your money. Because I still haven't heard what that is yet. The second thing is this, I assume the answer is yes, is the MSTU different, the fire money, is that different from the special assessment that we get on our taxes? Because as I recall, each one of us is paying something based upon not the value of the house, but the square footage of the property. We've paid that special tax assessment to the fire department. So this is something different. So we're as citizens, we're all, as property owners, we're all paying that special assessment based upon square footage.
On your tax bill.
On the tax bill, correct, right. And so that's different from this MSTU thing.
No, it's on your tax bill.
Oh, okay, so the MSTU is on the tax bill as a separate item. It's the exact same thing.
And that 2% savings, if we opted out, would reduce your tax bill.
Okay, thank you. So that answered
Yes.
that question then, okay. Yeah, so.
And not as a begrudgment or bad blood, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the only heartburn I have is that I know that if sometimes when you have an emergency, even though we're paying taxes, the fire department will charge you for transportation, which I think is kind of crazy, but that's a whole nother issue.
That's true.
But I would really like to have, make a motion, if you agree that you're going to do this, that we have a motion that we invite the fire chief and the sheriff to come down and explain exactly what we're getting for our money. I think that's fair. Thank you. Good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the problem with that is that they don't deal with it directly. Now, I don't know about the chief, the fire chief, but Scott said himself standing here, he does not deal with that portion. So that's why he couldn't give us an answer. And I'm trying to remember when Gina was here. Yes, when Gina was here, she alluded to a couple things, but she didn't really go into detail about what services we're getting. And that was one of the questions that we asked of both of them. That was the question that I asked of everybody that was, that I kept being passed on to in the phone call. So I don't know why nobody won't answer that question. I'm like Ms. Skinner, at this point, if we take it away, I am afraid that it will, hurt us in the long run, hurt us by our citizens not being able to be picked up if need be, hurt us by, sorry, I forgot to take the timer off, hurt us by the fire department, not coming out, and then if we go back into it, hurt us because maybe we're charged a little bit more. So, yeah, it's a difficult decision because I don't want to do it. I do know that it was in the millions that Jordan told me. I just don't remember how much. I can't remember if it was 1 point something million or 2 million, but I do remember that million amount. We cannot afford that. So,
In negotiation.
yeah.
Real quick, I certainly was not advocating to remove the fire department, but I don't know, are you able to split it out and say we want to keep the fire portion, but we'll hire the sheriff directly to do something? I don't know if that's clear to me.
Okay, so we were told, so the money goes to Alachua County. Alachua County pays it to the different entities.
So you're either in for both or you're out for both.
Correct.
And I think that's maybe the confusion where Dallas Lee, I think the city of Newberry has their own fire department. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I don't know how he got on that, but he was saying how they hired the sheriff directly and it was more economical and then they were able to have those parameters, but certainly you wouldn't want to have the fire station go away. That would be not good for Archer. But I was, based on what Dallas said, he made it seem like it was a better of controlling your money and you could also negotiate a better deal with the sheriff directly rather than giving that pot to Alachua County to divvy up.
As part of our financial recovery.
That's because they
I
have
don't
the
think we're
money.
given the correct information. So it's a fire assessment, and then you pay for the law enforcement. The fire assessment, you can't opt out of that unless you have your own fire department. The fire department located in Archer is Alachua County's fire department. So we would not be in compliance with that. We cannot get rid of it. You can opt out of the law enforcement piece for sure on our bill. Yep. I just want to make sure that was clear.
You've been patient enough.
I didn't, I'm good. I know we could opt out of the police, and I thought we could opt out of the fire, but I learned later, no, we can't opt out of fire. You have to have it. You can opt out of the police. I pay, I want to say, it's less than $200 a year for police protection. And we do have somebody here. Right now, he's on maternity leave, but usually he's here 5 days of the week. And we have our school resource officer. Now, they have to do that by law, but
State statute.
but that's $200, and I think is well spent if I'm sitting at my house by myself at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to clarify with one of the questions. We did reach out, John did reach out to agencies, and we have continued to extend that for any of them to engage with us, explain it to us. So we did do that, and we didn't, I don't believe, John, we heard anything back.
No.
They don't want to tell us.
Sorry.
Couple of things. One, and Commissioner Penny brought this up, so I want to address it because I'm the one that made the mistake that she's talking about. I thought that Newberry did both as far as the MSTU and the private contract. They don't. They don't do the figures. I think is 1.5 million. They pay, and they can negotiate where that officer is and hours, and they may or may not, I don't know exactly what their negotiation, whether they're 24/7 or whatever. The MSTU for the law enforcement, Believe me, I've been down this road many times in many capacities. What it pays for, they'll tell you. This is what, if the sheriff's right here, I guarantee you tell you this. It pays for patrol services. If you dial 911 and want law enforcement, they're still obligated to come. What they're guarantee you is an officer in the zone. The zone is big. It's not just the city of Archer. So somewhere 24/7, there is a ASO officer in this zone, which could, I don't know exactly where it goes. It could be Parker Road. Don't hold me to that. I'm just saying. They guarantee you an officer in the zone. They'll tell you that your tax money does not pay for patrol services. Now, I could get into a whole long spiel about that because I've been involved in that. I've never heard of it. We can't get the sheriff here to talk to you about it, but that's what they're going to tell you because they say that patrol services are not included in your regular tax bill and you have to pay extra for them. The fire is because you're dealing with a political animal with, and I'm not meaning that in a negative way. Sheriff, as an elected official, the fire department under the county, Commissioner Fiore is right. You can opt out of it if you want to form your own fire department. Okay.
Fire department or police department?
Fire department. Police department you can do as well. But then you're no longer, they're not patrolling you anyway. So, but fire department, you can opt out of it, but you have your own fire station. People get confused about this part because they talk about fire and rescue. They're actually two separate things, even though they work together out of the same office. In the state of Florida, the counties actually approve what they call right to carry. And I'm not talking about guns I'm talking about ambulance services. Some places, some counties, you can have private ambulance services. Alachua County will give no one that. That's why Gainesville has no fire rescue, no rescue. If you'll notice, if you call in Gainesville and you say someone is having chest pains, like the drug treatment center I used to work at, they're going to send a Alachua County ambulance, and believe it or not, they'll send a fire truck with a ladder crew and everything, even though you tell them factual, it's just chest pain, because they don't get paid for that. Alachua County will not issue a right to transport someone, I think that's the jargon, I might have that wrong. They hold that license. Every county does. Some counties allow it, some don't. Alachua County does not. They control the fire service. Gainesville fights them with this. They give up on it. So when you talk about the MSTU, you're not paying for the rescue side of it. That's something else. You're paying for the fire service. And that's what you can't opt out of without having your own service. If you opt out of the MSTU, you're still going to have an ambulance, but they might not be located where they're located. If you want to see what they'll do, go look. Do you ever wonder why there's a fire station between Hawthorne and Orange Heights on 301? It's because they were in dispute with the city of Hawthorne, said they built a fire station out there, in the middle of nowhere. They still kind of halfway man it. So you've got two separate things there that are very different. But patrol services, and this is one question I've never got answered by any sheriff going back to Sheriff Ulrich, and I'm not knocking any of them. I ask this one question over and over. What do you get as a taxpayer of Alachua County, base level police services? And they said, well, you don't pay for patrol service. Well, to me, that's about as base level as it gets, right? And I did some research back in the day, and they wrote like 900 or some odd citations, ASO officers did, in the city limits of Gainesville over like a 6-month period. This was years ago. And I said, well, isn't that patrolling? And they said, no, it's not patrolling. Well, what, they don't do it while they're serving a warrant, pulling somebody over a traffic citation. Anyway, it's a whole nother argument. So the bottom line is The sheriff's department, you can negotiate with them for extra services, but they'll tell you that if you don't pay the MSTU, they're not gonna guarantee you that officer in the zone here. So they could literally, I'm not trying to lay this on them, but they could literally be at wherever the extension of that is. You call 911, they're gonna come, but it might be a little bit slower because they might be further off. But fire is absolutely, you cannot do it without your own fire station. And if you were to do away with the fire station and have your own, you're gonna start looking at jacked up insurance rates. Keep that in mind. So there's a lot to it. I don't know if hopefully I explained it as clear as mud, but that's pretty much it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Oh, and just so you know, you don't have to pass anything to stay in it. You have till their budget time to get out of it. If we don't get out of it, I'll just notify them, depending on how the vote goes, that y'all intend to stay in it.
Well, we've got a motion on the table, so we're finished.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I got
all right.
long-winded there. I fought this fight a long time.
Yeah, we missed it last year by not doing anything, so we're there on the table tonight. All right, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And I think Ms. Fiore was
Yeah,
for it.
but you can do 4-0 and say that she was out.
And nays, like sign, nay. Motion carries 3-1 to maintain the MSTU. All right. Next, discussion of capacity fees and impact fees, pages 38 and 40.
I'll keep this down to less than 5 minutes.
Thank you.
So one of the things that we need to do long-term is that as we talk about future development coming into Archer, Florida is growing, it's inevitable. But what I will say is that we need to make sure that residents that are here, that have been here for generations, are protected in the vested capacity that they have. So what capacity fees are doing, and I'm trying to get this study, you'll have a proposal from Florida Rural Water or from Woodard and Curran, and it's to do the math. Everything else has already been done here. You can look through it. You can begin to ask questions. The city attorney, Derek, and I, all we need is the numbers from a engineer of record that signals, what your ERUs and all that are. Once that's done, we can bring to you all a series of ordinances that will codify someone coming in, and we would want to put it at the permit. So before they can pull the permit, they have to pay the capacity fee. And we would get these in place for water, pardon me, and we would even get it studied out for the wastewater so that it was already ready and codified when the wastewater came. You can't go and look at other cities. You can't go and say, well, we just pick a number out of a hat, because if it's challenged in court, you have to have that math standing behind the study of how you came to that conclusion. But this is something that I wanted to make sure you all realized we were moving forward on, we were working on, and as new development comes in, we need to make sure that they're paying for the capacity that the residents here have already paid for those wells and has already got invested in that sewer system, so that they pay their fair share.
Okay, so basically we had a vision and a comp plan review back in 2017-18, and we talked extensively about preparing for economic development with impact fees. So is this the first step in getting these
yes.
presentations and establishing rates?
Yes.
What triggers an impact fee and
Yes.
codifying that?
Yes, and we're going to have the ordinances and all that produced. I've already started writing all of it. Derek will review it. What I want to point out, though, is that although statute doesn't separate capacity from impact, I want to separate capacity from impact in your perspective. Impact fees are the impacts of like the roads and law enforcement and things of that
Phase
nature.
1, 2, and 3 of a development.
But capacity fees are different. Capacity, because we only have limited space in that plant that they'll be building in Newberry. We only have a limited amount of water that we can provide according to our consumptive use permit every year. So the reason why you want to focus on the capacity fees is they're the most defendable of all fees. As long as that study's done and that math's there, it's protected by Florida statute. But you have to pass it in 2 readings. You have to have a business impact statement, which we're getting together. And then the final step of that is once you pass them, there's like a 90-day waiting period, from my understanding, that you have to wait. So we've probably got a good 6 months of the study, possibly up to. Then we've got 2 months of reading of the ordinance, first read and second read, and then we've got a 3-month waiting period. So that's why I want to get to this as quickly as possible, although it's not as pertinent as some of our immediate issues, because of how long this takes to put into place legally. I want to make sure this is on y'all's radar and you understand that we need to get this done as quickly as possible.
And if you don't have the answer, that's fine, but can we do this consecutively, both capacity and impact?
Impact fees will cost you a lot more money. So if you want to study the impact to your parks and your stormwater and your facilities and things like that, that is a much more expensive. Usually there's a company like Raftilis in the state that specializes in that. And those studies take a year, longer.
That's my concern.
And they're very, very expensive. The capacity fees can either be done by our continuing services contract with Woodard and Curran, or can be done if we're on the waiting list, which we already are, for Florida Rural Water, and there's a very small fee with them. That's the cheapest way to do it. And their engineer signs off on that study. And then once we have the numbers, we're going to already have everything else drafted, and we'll get it to you as soon as we can. But we just want to make sure you all understood what it was, because we've heard this before from residents. Like, I don't want people coming in here and taking advantage of what we built for all these years and not paying their fair share. That's the purpose of capacity fees. So,
And economic development impact fees. So, I mean,
again, that's impact statements that if you guys want to go down that road, we can. I want to make sure we separate these, we get these done, and then you are going to require a significant portion of money, because it's not going to be funded by a grant.
I'm just requesting that we not waylay on impact fees, even as a 2 or 3 year plan, because we'll be in our wastewater system, which is, I'm not a crystal baller, but I just think that's going to trigger some development.
I agree with you.
And if they get in with their permitting before we have any impact fees, you cannot use it as a muscle tool to impact fee them when you don't have the impact.
I agree with you. My issue, Mr. Mayor, is that if I put out an RFP right now for impact fee studies, we don't have the money to pay for it. Right now, we can find the money to pay for the capacity fee study. So again, this is more of a triage. There's what we really could do and we'd want to do, but there's what we can afford to do.
I just don't want to kick the can down the road and we're out of time and we don't have impact fees and we have the.
If you would all like me to try and figure out in the budget where we set aside some
No, I'm
money
not
that
saying-
rolls over to the next budget, that's something we can talk
It's a
about.
2 to 3 year fiscal year plan, so 28, 29 is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I hear your message loud and clear about capacity, but I don't want to just, oh yeah, what about impact fees? And we've already got 3 or 4 developers in here wanting phase 1, 2, and 3 with 1,500 homes coming in here. We're behind the 8 ball.
I don't disagree with you.
Not that, you know, a 500 home development, phase 1, 2, and 3 would be done in a year. I'm just saying, in 2 or 3 years, yes, it could be. I mean, Newberry is an example. And they did not have their development impacts and things in place, and they regret that. I mean, I've been to several of their commission meetings, and they're saying, we are so far behind, and
We will look for more affordable ways to go down that,
That's
but
all
as
I'm
far as the capacity fees, we want to move on this pretty aggressively.
because we've just been talking about both what you're talking about, capacity and impact, for 3 or 4 years now, so, thank you. So by consensus, we want to move forward with the capacity fees? Is that okay? Yep. Any comments from the constituency in the first step of economic development, which is capacity fee consideration? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bill Lewandowski, I think it's great we're doing that. I just want to note, and I'll be talking about this more when we get to the item on the wastewater. So the capacity the capacity with the wastewater actually has 2 components. There is the issue with the collection system, and then there's the issue with the capacity in Newberry. So my reading, and again, this is one of the issues I want to bring up later, my reading of the draft resolution, which is the draft interlocutory agreement, which is the only copy I have, is that Newberry sets those impact fees.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're required to use their impact fees when it comes to the wastewater. Now, we can do, but there's other issues with this thing, but I just wanted to note that. If you think I'm reading that wrong, let me know, but that's my reading of it as of right
Yeah,
now.
that would be as to, and how I read the agreement, that would be as to the capacity within the plant and our wholesale, but that wouldn't be in regards to the lines within the city that we would own
Right.
as the collection system.
Yeah.
And the only thing we could codify is what is our ownership if I'm right on that. I believe that's the only thing we could deal with is the collection system. And that's where the ERUs come in. Because the reason why every town's different is because let's say you have 1,000 homes on a system, but they're all within 4 square miles of one another. That system is less expensive to maintain than 200 customers that are spread out over 10 square miles. So your ERUs are formulated to each person's, what is their part in the community per how many connections you have to replace the whole system. That's how it's divided up. So you have to figure out how large your system is, over what space, how many customers you break that down on, and that is how you calculate your ERU. So that has to do with the collection system, not the wholesale capacity that we would be purchasing in their plant. So.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, by consensus, we're going to move with planning for the capacity fees and structure. Next, Resolution 2026-22, DEP QG015 wastewater agreement, pages 41 and 42.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Mayor, this is the agreement that is continuing our Archer and City of Newberry Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant project. This is the last step into receiving the actual fund transfer and a special account that will be managed, grant managed by our engineer of record. And as soon as we receive this money, there will be a large portion of it, as soon as we verify transfer of funds, that will be given over to Newberry, pretty much the majority of it, really. So that's all this is. It's something that DEP sent us and something that we're required to do as part of that agreement.
It's a required step.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the pleasure, by motion or by consensus? Just
So
motion.
moved.
So I have a motion from Vice Mayor, a second from Commissioner.
Mr. Mayor, if we could just read the resolution by
Yes, ma'am.
title only
I'm sorry.
first.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
City of Archer, Florida, Resolution 2026-22, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Archer, Florida, approving the Florida Department of Environmental Protection Standard Grant Agreement, number QG015 for the City of Archer, City of Newberry Advanced Wastewater Treatment Plant Project, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the agreement and any related documents, providing for conflicts and providing an effective date.
Okay, and I have a motion from
Yes.
Vice Mayor and a second from Commissioner Penny. Any further discussion from the dais regarding Resolution 2026-22? Hearing none, any comments from the constituents in the audience regarding this step? Yes, sir, Mr. Lewandowski.
I want to make my comments that my comments are not opposed necessarily to the sewer plant. I'm concerned about the agreement. I started getting a lot of concerns after we heard the last meeting, when I started hearing rates. As you know, those rates were at least double of what we've been told in the past in terms of, user rates. So we were talking about 80, I think it was, he was talking about an average of $80 a month. Newberry's been experiencing a 2 to 3% increase over time. So that's high. The grants for $13 million, we have to give $11 million to Newberry right away. If we look at the interlocal agreement, there's lots of risk. We have to pay any cost overruns on our portion of it. We have no control at all, no say on the wholesale rate. Now, my understanding when this was first discussed, we'd have a seat at the table on that. So we, Mike New dispelled that to me. We have lots of risk with infrastructure. I've got some major issues, personally, as I look at this thing. And I think some of you do too. I've heard Ms. Green say she regretted voting for this. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm pretty sure I remember hearing you say that. So again, I'm not trying to say we shouldn't have sewer. I'm not trying to put roadblocks in it. But when I hear Mike New do a presentation and some of the stuff he's giving us is not accurate, because he's just taking stuff coming from his office and throwing it up as a PowerPoint. And I'm going back and I did a deep dive into the draft interlocutory agreement. I've got lots of problems with it, personally. We are going to be held hostage by Newberry. I think we should table this, and we need to go back and renegotiate the agreement. I don't see any penalties with us going back and renegotiating the agreement. I don't see any penalties in the grant. Now, we have some time based upon the wording I'm seeing in the grant. And I know this doesn't make a lot of people happy, but, it's kind of like you're going down the road and all of a sudden a sinkhole opens up and you still want to get to the other side, but you insist on driving through into the sinkhole anyway. I mean, there is an issue here. It's a serious issue. We are going to lose control over so many things with this agreement. I think it's time to go back and have a chat with our friends in Newberry. That's my personal opinion. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I'm so glad when I stay home. Didn't you say, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I thought I heard the manager say that once we do this paperwork and they release the funds, that the engineer of record would be in charge of the funds?
The finance director will be in charge of the funds, but the grant manager will not be staff. It will be the engineer of record.
Okay.
And so they will manage. They will certify whether or not something should be paid and whether or not it
Yeah,
meets.
I understand that part. My question is, when are we gonna be hiring, Mike New, his company? Because I don't want Kimley Horn over this.
We already did. They are our engineer of record.
Okay,
And the RFP is out there and submitted for record, just because of a due diligence, what we have to do in May 15th.
That's the design of the collection system. That has nothing to do with these grants. Our engineer of record, from the last meeting, you all approved a contract
With
with Woodard and Curran.
okay,
And so they are our engineer of record.
okay.
And they've submitted their RFP for the collection. Will.
I'm gonna also agree with Mr. Lewandowski. This needs to be looked at closely because everything has changed. It has only been a year ago that Mike New stood in here, a year and a half maybe, I don't think so, and told me, or I said to him, rates should probably everywhere else double your water bill. And he said, yes, ma'am, that's a pretty good rule of thumb. My water bill is not $40 a month.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Lori Costello, I also agree with Bill. Has each one of y'all studied thoroughly that agreement?
Yes.
Everybody? And y'all don't share the same concerns? No? Okay, I agree with Bill, please.
I want to be put on record that I did have concerns, and I expressed my concerns at the meeting we had last month, I guess. I don't agree with all the terms. I don't know if we can negotiate again. I think we're past that point. I'm not an attorney by any means, but yeah, I don't want it to be a blanket statement that everyone up here has the same opinion on the contract.
Mr. Mayor, if I may clarify.
Yes, sir.
So there's been an assertion that we can negotiate. This agreement before you, this resolution, just to clarify, is an agreement with us and the Department of Environmental Protection. This has nothing to do with the interlocal agreement between us and Newberry. I've been here 2 months. I'm just fulfilling what was already decided. It's decided. It's done. It's a contract. We have our city attorney sitting here. She can tell you that regardless of what any of us here want, there's no marching back. I'm not saying that it was a good decision, a bad decision. I'm an anathema on that.
This is the grant.
I'm the city manager of a system that I have to fulfill as far as this grant program. So I don't have an opinion in negative or positive. I just have a task that I need to complete. But this is not a question of the agreement.
Interlocal agreement.
This is simply the next piece that DEP has on a checklist before the funds are transferred. It's just a small component of a checklist. So I understand the concern. I don't disregard it at all, but that's not what this issue is about.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say what Mr. Lewandowski stated that I said, and I did make that comment, but I knew at the same time there was nothing else, I couldn't do anything about it. Because the only reason I made that comment, because in the beginning stages, it was supposed to be a lot less. The increases had doubled by the time we got to the stage that we were at a few months ago. They had actually doubled from what we started out with. And so, yes, Mr. Lewandowski, I did make that comment. And I said, I kind of regret it, kind of voted for it. But I know now my hands are tied. There's nothing I can do about that.
Which is understandable.
I just want to let them know that.
So one thing.
You was telling the truth that I said it, so I had
Good,
to
I'm glad I
explain
didn't
why I
lie.
said
Okay,
it.
good.
You didn't?
Yes, from Mr.
So a couple of things. One is I think the city attorney is in a difficult position on this because they are they are the attorney of record for the city of Newberry. So I think it makes it a little more difficult for them to discuss whether or not we can reopen negotiations with the city of Newberry. I think that was negotiated with I think an outside counsel worked that.
Yes, we were
Okay, yeah.
represented by another council. Newberry was represented by a council, and they were different councils within the process, from my understanding from the
Yeah.
agreement.
So the issue though is that any contract can be renegotiated. There's nothing that says you can't go back and renegotiate a contract.
But we're not looking at the
Can't
contract.
renegotiate the
the-
grant, Mr. Lewandowski, and that's the
The
$13 million.
the contract is a condition of the grant. So it is, the contract is a condition of the grant. You have to have that in order to get the grant. There's nothing that stops you from going back and say, hey, wait a second, we need to relook at these conditions, because once you move forward and you say yes to this, then there is no going back.
And we
if-
have signed that, and done
You
that.
can go back and renegotiate with Newberry and open up the door again.
No, sir, and I'll explain why. So they've already actually sent us an invoice. That's how final this has been. They've already sent us the invoice. We know what that invoice is. We received it over a month ago. So we're doing this process so that, because what they could do is they could go out and get a bridge loan tomorrow. They could go out and get a bridge loan. And the contract actually states that the city of Archer is responsible for any interest and charges that are incurred above and beyond if we don't give them that money. So whether you guys don't approve this and DEP doesn't send that money, you will owe them whatever money contractually plus interest. There is, I've asked, I'm not disagreeing with your concerns at all, but I inherited this, it's done. There is no question as to whether or not Newberry and Archer have a sewer agreement within that plant. And whether we ever go online or we ever build a thing at a certain date, at a certain time, the city of Archer will owe them money, irregardless of anything that this commission decides from this point
1 gallon or
forward.
1,000 gallons a day, it doesn't matter.
So as I recall what the contract says, they were able to invoice us 30 days after they got their loan approval. So
That was a month ago.
A month ago. The invoice is over a month old.
They've already gone out, contracted an engineer. They've already negotiated that. This was long past. This is before myself. This is before John. All this was before us. All this was completely set in stone. There is no marching back on this unless someone wants to donate $14 million roughly to the city to give to them and then say, hey, we're on our own.
Okay, even if that's true, and I think an attorney needs to buy off on that, even if that's true, it still doesn't stop you from going back and renegotiating with Newberry. They can say no, they can say they don't want to talk to us, but I think we need to do that. Okay?
So, Mr. Mayor, I have had a meeting with Newberry, and we did try and bring up some issues, and that meeting was not favorable for the city of Archer. So I don't want to continue to go in with people that we have to be customers of, partners with in a sense, and
have
continue
contentious-
to
All right,
have.
so I'll make that motion next month, and you can turn me down, that we go back and redo it. I can't obviously have any impact on it now, but certainly it'll be something I bring up next month.
Duly noted, sir. Anyone else from the constituents in the audience?
Would the attorney like to have a comment about the contract and what the state of it is?
I agree, I completely agree with you, Mr. City Manager, that it's done. I wasn't part of the original part of this either, because we do represent both Archer and Newberry, but this is done. This is just a codification, memorialization of what's already been done.
It's releasing the funding source to be able to pay the bill. All right. We have a motion and a second. Let's go to a vote. All those in favor of resolution 2026-22, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Nays like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 2026-23, local mitigation strategy, pages 43 and 45.
If the city attorney would like to read the resolution.
Yes, sir, thank you. City of Archer, Florida, Resolution 2026-23, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Archer, Florida, adopting the 2026 Alachua County Local Mitigation Strategy, authorizing the city manager or designee to coordinate with Alachua County Emergency Management and other participating jurisdictions regarding implementation, maintenance, and future updates, recognizing the city's continued participation in the Local Mitigation Strategy Work Group, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor, every county has an LMS group. These groups meet together and discuss, disaster-related preparedness, issues of flooding, issues of all types of preparedness logistics. They also get together and produce a list. That list is important in a lot of federal and state grants. Many grants that we actually have recently been awarded came from projects that were designated from this LMS group. So this is basically just from the county. It's their document, it's their form. It was submitted to us. They asked us to approve it. It's a standard thing. Again, if people have questions, they're welcome to. This doesn't really cost us anything. There's no funding issue revolving this. It's just making sure that we have that cooperative relationship. We continue to participate, and we're part of that voting block to prioritize what projects in this county will be put on a list. So that in the extent of a disaster, a severe disaster, the federal government and the state government to an extent begins to go in order and begins to fund that list. And so we definitely want to make sure that Archer has a seat at that table.
Do you have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion from Vice Mayor Bailey. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second from Commissioner Penny. Any discussion from the dais regarding this matter? Any resolution? Hearing none, anything from the constituents in the audience regarding this action? I'll be part of the LMS group for the county as a municipality. Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of resolution 2026-23, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well, nays like sign. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Next is resolution 2026-25, payroll services, pages 46 through 48.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, so this is, I'll let the city attorney read the resolution, sorry.
Madam Attorney, would you read the resolution by title?
Yes, sir. City of Archer, Florida, Resolution 2026-25. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Archer, Florida, approving the payroll services proposal with JNS Accounting and Tax for city payroll processing services, authorizing the city manager or designee to execute the proposal and any related documents, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date.
So this is a contract that we asked the JNS Accounting, Mr. Whitehead, our finance director, to produce. Currently, they are not doing our payroll services, although they have helped us kind of discern some issues with it. Where I plan on paying for this is actually the savings from the enterprise QuickBooks. We were roughly at $12,000 a year for the current schedule of QuickBooks that we had that was phased out when it was bought by Intuit. Going to the online plus and then doing the payroll module. As a matter of fact, when Mr. Whitehead saw what the payroll module has in it, engaging both those services, he actually stated that this would end up being less than the $500 per month, that was before we had any software. So, but the maximum cost would be $500 a month, roughly $6,000 a year. That plus the modules, we are still saving about $1,000 of what was currently budgeted for the QuickBooks. And again, I think it's vitally important. Your auditors in the past, your finance director now has told the commission and that we really need to get this out of house. This needs to be done by a professional and make sure. One of the modules that we bought in QuickBooks, the Premier Elite, for the payroll module that he'll be using, actually has an insurance type qualifier to it that protects the city, that if there is a miscalculation using QuickBooks, that they'll give you up to $25,000 in any fiscal year to cover that inaccuracy if it costs the city money. So that's the reason why we're really encouraging you all to go in this direction. Of course, it's in your purview, and you can decide that you want us to continue to do payroll in-house. So whatever your pleasure is.
I'll entertain a motion to consider resolution 2026-25.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fiore. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Mayor Bailey. Any discussion from the dais regarding this moving to a contract for payroll services with a savings of $1,000 a year and redirecting staff and other job duties that do payroll? Hearing none. Anyone from the constituents in the audience regarding this action and moving this to contract services? Yes, sir.
Who currently does the payroll? Is that deputy clerks?
Yes.
Who does that? So that will lessen their load? Is that correct?
To transfer the duties to other things, correct.
I would argue that a deputy city clerk shouldn't have ever had to do payroll, but we have a small staff.
Okay, yeah, I have no idea.
It's not really within the job description of a deputy city clerk.
Okay,
And the last
understood.
year, her as interim, she was doing the payroll.
So we would have a bookkeeper then that would be in that role, but we don't have one of those. Is that correct now?
So I'm moving the bookkeeping through the QuickBooks, and I'm moving now payroll into the finance directors, and that individual will be giving us reports each month, as you saw this month. We'll be going through the receipts. We will have to approve those and sign off on them, but we will authorize the finance director to give us reports and to manage the finances, both on the payroll side and the booking
The
side.
bookkeeping function is going to be contracted through J&S.
Correct.
Accounting services.
We are carefully taking invoices and we are transferring them to them, and then they're returning back originals to us, and then they are processing all that. And Mr. Whitehead doesn't do that because he's a more expensive rate. We do it with someone in their office that's just part of their staff. That's at a much lower rate.
$100 an hour.
Yep.
Do we do any bookkeeping then in-house? Do we
I
put them
hope
in
not.
QuickBooks?
We're trying not to.
Trying not to do anything.
I mean,
haven't
you
done a
guys
good
have all
job
heard
of
all
it,
these
so-
problems that have
Yeah.
occurred because of all this, and we need to course correct, and this is the answer to that. I mean, large cities don't do in-house financing unless they have very specialized departments.
Okay, I'm not saying it's good or bad one way or the
No, I
other,
know.
but I'm just asking
Yeah,
questions
I'm
because
just
I don't
explaining.
know.
We haven't been successful at doing it in.
It doesn't seem that way,
It
no.
doesn't seem to be working.
With that said, on the payroll, I think, and I was blown away when I heard this, and I don't know if we ever changed it, that the work week went through Wednesday, and then the check had to be cut that same day in the afternoon.
This will resolve
or
all that. This will resolve all that.
Oh, but we'll hold back a week, or is there some,
So we will get with the staff. There'll be a period of time for about a month and a half that they'll have a higher check on one and less of a check to get on the right cycle that we need to get on. But we will give them ample time to know that that's coming and prepare for it. But yes, we need to get on a different cycle because we need to go to 2-day processing versus same-day processing.
And then a day to process. that.
okay, because I know this was talked about, and
4-day
I think
window.
Commissioner Fiore, maybe before she was commissioner, had asked about that and was discussed. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else regarding this resolution? Okay, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of resolution 2026-25, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Nays, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries 5-0. Okay, last is, I think the.
Item G.
Yep, there's my added item. I'll give copies that way. This is a resolution that I'm passing out to you all, and I think I might have one extra copy for citizens, but this is what was approved by North Central Florida Planning Council last month with a presentation the month before and last month regarding what is occurring before our very eyes, and has got the attention of legislation. And Tallahassee is a viable alternative to the 20 percentile aquifer level that is low or lower than it was in 2012. One of the occurrences that has happened with us since the year after COVID ended was our explosive growth in Florida of 1,000 to 1,200 people a day moving in permanently to Florida in 23 and 24. It has slowed up a bit. Now it's only 900 permanent residences a day moving into Florida. That doesn't account for the success of Governor DeSantis and everything that we've done well in Florida as far as financial tourism expansion. Last year alone was $325 billion in tourism, in tourist business coming into Florida. All of them drinking and all of them flushing and all of them then leaving with their money in our pocket, but then with the problem with water. Two explosive counties north now are Duval County and Flagler County. Stands to reason, Jacksonville is, a bay shipyard, wonderful city for, business. Flagler County is St. Augustine and all the tourism. Those are the two northern highest growth counties that we're experiencing. They have a pipeline directly into our aquifer, and they draw straight out of the North Floridan aquifer, adding to our depletion because the third component is we had no hurricanes last year. Don't like hurricanes, but hurricanes feed our aquifer. Fourth component, and again, I hate to belabor this, but for those that haven't followed this, this is the kind of information I get representing Archer when I go to the North Central Florida Planning Council. Fourth is the task force that's had to be created with the Valdosta wastewater plant expansion that in 4 years they have holding ponds for their reclaimed sewer water. And because of their rain events in the last 4 years, not counting this last year because it's a drought, they've had 4 breaches of sewer water flowing from the creeks in Valdosta area. I can't remember the creek names, but they flow straight into the Swanee River, into the south part of Withlacoochee River, directly into our aquifer. So much so that people in Swanee County, Jasper and those kind of areas and in the Panhandle have had warnings about not drinking the water for any reason until Swanee River Water Management, which is our water management district, gave authorization that the water was below a microbiological component of sewage in the water. It's a sad story. This is the same water war, though, for those of you who've been around in Florida for 10, 15 years, that we fought with Tampa, Fort Myers, and St. Pete with, I call it the North-South water war, and we won that battle, not just Archer, but in the argument and the fight, they were told, no, you cannot pipe our water out of, we have precious water in this North Florida area. We won the North-South water war because we said collectively as counties and municipalities here, build a salinization plant and drink your own water from salinization. Salinization plants cost 3 times as much as reclaiming water and piping it back into the aquifer. What I'm bringing up to tonight and the resolution to not accept this is the agreement between JEA, which is the utility authority out of Duval County, and their planner, the St. Johns River Water Management, working in concert with our water management, Swanee River Water Management, to try to relieve us of our 12 percentile of low aquifer level, lower than in 2012 before all the magnitude of growth. Take a pipeline of reclaimed water that they are saying, they being JEA and St. Johns River Water Management master planners and microbiologists, saying it'll be purified enough to pump back into the aquifer, i.e. their caca water will be pumped back from Duval and Flagler County across the counties back into the Floridan aquifer on this side. Absolutely not. This is one of those infamous, not in my backyard. We don't want your water. Build a salinization plant straight out of the Atlantic Ocean, drink that water, and then you process however you have to your own caca water. The cost is not going to be $1 billion. That's their opportunity is $1 billion of approval from legislation. Legislation is at a majority right now to approve that. That's why we're fighting this right now. It's 2 to 3 years away for the $1 billion project to start drinking Duval and Flagler County's caca water that they reclaimed and say, we'll give it back to you used. The argument is the alternative or the proper plan, and this is my position, but just hearing what all this that I'm sharing with you at a very low level, elementary level, but it's the real McCoy, is for them to build their own necessary desalinization plant. And the cost for those two counties, or all of that area of Florida over there, is $3 billion. It'll be a cost to all of us as taxpayers, but it's the cost of doing business to have growth. And if we accepted this growth and we love this funnel money coming in through tourism growth and all that, it's the cost of doing business. You need to build a desalinization plant on the east side, just like Tampa and Fort Myers and St. Pete had to do almost 10 years ago, and the magnitude of growth that they were experiencing, which is all a good thing in growth, but it's proper growth planning. So I'm asking tonight, y'all got the one from North Florida, for us to adopt a resolution that, pardon me for reading it, but it's a resolution to be against the project as it's called, which is the Water First. That's how ironic this is. They're calling it Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project. And what a nice long name for something that all they're doing is pumping the reclaimed caca water back into our aquifer. They do not know, and they are not measuring. This was the game changer with me, where I thought, well, gosh, I'd give the farmers and all of agriculture their water source back, because we've heard about spray fields and all that, but they can't tell us what they're not measuring for microbiological fentanyl levels, from any of the medical waste that's in that reclaimed water. They cannot determine what level that's on. I don't want to drink any medical wastewater. I'm sorry about you guys. I don't, fentanyl is great, but I don't want to drink reclaimed fentanyl water either. And I'm being humorous, but it's like that. These are the kind of questions that were asked, and just humor. 2 meetings ago, not last meeting, I got out off the hook, but 2 meetings ago, you all know County Commissioner Mary Alford. She lives in Archer. She is now the chair of North Central Florida Planning Council. I was the chair last year. She's the chair this year. She was ill on that meeting when this was coming up 2 meetings ago. The vice chair of North Central Florida Planning Council was also had family members ill in a hospital, so she couldn't run the meeting. The secretary of North Central Florida Planning Council group had baseball commitments in another city or whatever. He could not present and chair the meeting. Guess who got called? Little Bobo from Archer. Little did I know that every environmental group, because that was the caveat that Mr. Coons, Scott Coons, said, oh, well, that's good. I said, I can run the meeting. I did it for 12 months last year. How hard can it be? I got the agenda. He said, well, there is a caveat to this. Every environmental group in north of Orlando is going to be in attendance and want to speak in public comment. Normally we have 1 or 2 public comment people in any given meeting. There were over 55 people there to speak under public comment. There were multiple toilets being rolled in on the little moving 4-wheel carts that had giant straws in them. They had taken gallons of lemonade and put down in a toilet. But they all were going to give public comment and speak. I'm sorry, I'm belaboring this, but this is what I walked into as each person rolled their toilet up to speak, and they would comment like we do here for a minute or so and say, oh, excuse me, my throat's dry, and then drink out of the straw showing the yellow lemonade, but it represented something else. They got the message loud and clear. It got on WJXT Channel 4 News or whatever. I couldn't do anything but laugh. It was. I mean, I had to keep a straight face. But anyway, this resolution that has been presented by North Florida is voting against this plan for JEA to come in with $1 billion project, and I'll just read it real briefly, real fast. It's number 202614 through North Central Florida Regional Planning Council, and I would like us to adopt it with Archer. as a municipality, because multiple municipalities are doing the same thing. A resolution of the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council opposing the Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project and recommending the implementation of the Alternative Water Desalinization Project. Whereas the freshwater springs, Itchitucknee River, Santa Fe River, and the Florida Aquifer are designated as natural resources of regional significance by the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council, hereinafter referred to as the Council and the North Central Florida Strategic Regional Policy Plan. And whereas the water quality of the freshwater springs, rivers, and the Florida Aquifer is critical to the economic vitality of ecotourism, agriculture, and recreation in the North Central Florida region, whereas the lowering of the potentiometric surface of the Florida Aquifer by water users located outside of the North Central Florida region has contributed adversely to lower flows and levels in the lower Santa Fe River Basin and Itchitucknee River Basin. And whereas the council recognizes the importance of achieving minimum flows and levels in the lower Santa Fe River Basin and the Itchitucknee River Basin as necessary to protect North Central Florida region natural resources, and the council's interest in maintaining a high quality of life for its citizens and enjoyment of the area for residents and visitors. And whereas the state of Florida local water sources first policy suggests that water users located outside of the North Central Florida region should develop alternative water supplies such as desalinization, and whereas the Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project would discharge 40 million gallons per day of treated recycled wastewater from outside of the North Central Florida region directly into our Florida aquifer in either Baker County, Bradford County, Columbia County, Hamilton County, and or Union County in the North Central Florida region. Now therefore, in consideration of the foregoing, be it resolved by the North Central Florida Regional Planning Council that one, the council opposes the Water First North Florida Aquifer Recharge Project, and two, the council recommends the Florida legislature, the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, the Swanee River Water Management District, and the St. Johns River Water Management District to reevaluate the alternative local water sources first desalinization project for water users located outside of the North Central Florida region as a means to contribute towards achieving minimum flows and levels in the lower Santa Fe River Basin and Itchitucknee River Basin. So resolved the 26th day of March. It was signed and passed on. Multiple municipalities are doing like resolutions opposing this, and I would just like us, by consensus, to consider this and have it adopted as soon as it can be presented to us.
Mr. Mayor, if I can formulate a motion so I know how to do this and then send it off to the appropriate agencies. If someone could make a motion to the effect for staff to create Resolution 2026-26, convert the language for the city of Archer, and if the motion could be to authorize you and the clerk to sign it and forward it to the agencies responsible.
I'm
So
sorry to
moved.
belabor, but yeah.
So moved.
Thank
I
God.
second.
Motion and a second from Commissioner Penny. The first was by Vice Mayor Bailey. My greatest concern, I mean, it's not the toilets, it's not the lemonade in the toilets and any of that stuff, humor. It is that, for some reason, and we've always entrusted in Swanee River Water Management to protect us and to ensure we're doing the right thing. These negotiations were happening between two water management districts, and it just happened to get out. And it's like, you know, my $1 million question to our friends, and I know they're grant sources for grants, but they didn't present it to the municipalities at all for consideration. This was water management district to water management district just saying, oh, that sounds like a good plan. Let's go for the $1 billion. Let's go with the cheaper route. Let's do the $1 billion instead of the $3 billion, and they can just reclaim and consume the water over there. Not in my backyard is my feeling. So thank you. If I have a motion and a second, any other comments? I'm sorry to belabor it, but I'm kind of passionate about it. It's like, oh my God.
Comment on that?
Yes, ma'am. Just the consideration of Archer adopting a resolution and such.
When the county comes out and waters the plants that they've planted all over town, you see reclaimed water on
Yep.
the side of the tank? That's Gainesville's reclaimed water.
Absolutely.
And Gainesville has pumped it right into the ground for years.
Yes, ma'am.
I've said for a long time that we need desalinization plants because we have so much coastline. And I've
Growth,
talked to
yeah.
kids graduating from high school and going into environmental science in those fields. And I said, that's a project for us because water is, we're going to reach a critical condition. Now we go to Blue Springs and it just produces 8 million gallons a day, I think. And there's very little change in it today. We were there today, and it's not as low as a lot of places. But I know what you're addressing, and I certainly agree with it. And I think that desalinization is something that Florida should have looked at long ago for
And
many reasons.
started planning it long-term, yeah, because the growth that's happening on the coast, I mean, I'm excited about it, but yes, ma'am, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of this resolution dovetailing off of North Central Florida Planning Council's, just adopting it from Archer standpoint, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well, nays like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you for that support. I feel very strongly about this. All right. Next is our public participation or comment period. That's a hard-working lady. Yes, ma'am, welcome.
I got a long way to go back home. Just Michelle Sherfield, Lottrell County Sheriff's Office. I just wanted to comment first about the substation. So we are working in the substation one day out of the month currently. That is the fourth Tuesday. We're there from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We do have deputies that come and stop by. We go in there, we can see they've been in there because they've eaten lunch or eaten their dinner, or they've had the laptop connected, and we can see all that. So the substation is operational to have the deputies there, and so we're there working there. And then I just wanted to say, we did our spring break fun day, and it was a great turnout. We had about 40 kids that showed up, which, we were pleasantly surprised about. What I will say though is my concern is that I'm not so sure how many were actually Archer kids.
That's always
And
good.
so, we're putting the events out there, we are expending our time, and so we just want to make sure we're doing it in Archer and we're doing it for the Archer kids.
Yes, ma'am.
But we did have kids that came, and we know they came from other areas. So as you are hearing us doing events, we will be back in the summer. We've got a couple of things that we want to do. Our books, burgers, and books and brownies, books, bingo, and brownie. I had to get that out. That we're going to be doing. We will have our van that will be riding around, pop up. We just want to encourage the kids, let them know we're here for them. I mean, the events and the things we're doing are for them. And so we really, really, really want to get the kids from Archer to come out and participate. We don't want kids from other communities to come in and then take advantage of that, and the children from Archer, don't have it. So we are just asking, as you hear about it, we appreciate the partnership with the city of Archer, and again, we'll be back in the summer. We're actually going to be, the last Tuesday, we're going to be at the elementary school for the after school, and we'll be doing summer safety tips, and we will have snacks and things for them during after school to do that. So just want to let you know our commitment to partnering in Archer is full steam ahead, thanks to the funding from Children's Trust.
Thank you.
So that's how we're able to do that.
Thank you for
So
working
just
so
want to
hard.
put that out there.
I want to say thank you, guys, and yes, you have been full steam ahead. I appreciate it. I did call families and send them information so that they can come out, because I knew I was out of town. So I'm happy to hear that you had a good little
Yeah,
group, and
we did.
hopefully it was more Archer
I hope so.
kids than anywhere else, but
Yeah, you pick up and, a couple people talked and all that, and so we knew, so I wasn't sure exactly how many, but I know that there was a nice little handful for sure I know was not from Archer, and so we want to make sure if we're in Archer, we're doing it for Archer, because we're hitting all of our communities. So, we went all over the county for spring break.
The greatest thing too is that you hear adults saying they didn't know popos could be so cool when y'all do these events.
And the kids had a
You know,
great time.
and it's like, it changes the whole
It does, because our
culture.
deputies were the ones that cooked the hamburgers. I mean, I wasn't
Yeah.
cooking. We were out there doing stuff, and
I mean,
so
the representatives were
they
so positive
loved
with
that. So then when they came out, when he finished cooking their hamburgers and hot dogs and drove his truck out, they all wanted to get in
Yeah.
the truck with him and all,
Yeah.
and they were so excited. He actually cooked. Our deputy actually cooked the food, and they thought that was amazing.
It's trust building. I mean,
So, yeah, so we
ain't that
appreciate it.
interesting? Children's trust and it builds trust, you know?
Yes.
That's the organization does.
Yep,
Thank you so much.
we appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, if I may for a moment.
Yes.
Would you please contact John and I, and, if you guys have things you need on the marquee or something that the city can do to cooperate with you or get the word out, if there's posters that we can post on the Facebook, if there's things that we can put on the website, if you guys would just reach out to us, we will
certainly
do a
will.
better job on our end.
Because they can print the flyers and put them in the churches. 'Cause
Yeah, we did. We went around to the churches. We
Yeah.
put it up at the library. We put it
Super.
up at the post office.
Thank
Save a Lot let us put it
Yeah.
up. Dollar General let
Yeah,
us
I
put
saw
it
it.
up. We put it up at the wing place.
Yeah.
So we tried to get it out everywhere. And so again, we appreciate it. And we'll make sure you have all the information as we start planning our summer activities.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. You guys have a tough job. Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the commission, my name is Joseph Lander. I'm here today on behalf of Tammy Altieri. She's the property owner of 16464 Southwest 133rd Avenue, right here in Archer, right down the road. And I want to give you a little kind of a history real quick. The property was owned by Clementine Smith, who, I don't know when Clementine passed away, but it went to probate on January the 11th, 2008. After that, in June of 2013, code enforcement went by and said that the grass was too tall and issued a citation. It came in front of code enforcement July 23rd of 2013, and by this time it's still, part of a probate, and they found it to not be in compliance and in violation of the ordinance, and issued a $250 a day fine. Clearly, the family didn't care much about the property because they never paid the taxes on it, and subsequently, it was sold for delinquent taxes. But when it went through that process, the property was so bad, even though there's only $5,400 owed in taxes, nobody even bought it at the tax auction. So later on, a year later, in 2019, Ms. Altieri purchased it for the $5,499 from the lands available for purchase through Alachua County. What she didn't realize is that there was a lien by the city of Archer on that property for that code violation way back in 2013. Whether it was in the file or not, I don't know. I can't find that information. I can't find that file from the city of, or from Alachua County, and or their records don't go back online that far, rather. And when you pull up the code enforcement minutes, there's the agenda, but there's no minutes back in July of 23. Ms. Altieri has fixed up that property. In fact, she's trying to sell it. It's in beautiful shape now. Clearly had nothing to do with, whatever happened back in 2013. Trying to bring in people to be, good citizens of Archer. And I'd like to ask if the county would consider abating that fine from back in 2013. You're talking about, I understand that $15,000 is the max of the fine. Well, I haven't had anybody say what it would be, but clearly 60 days, you're at $15,000 if the fine's $250 a day. So I
Can you
respectfully.
repeat the address?
It's 16464 Southwest 133rd Avenue. Just not too far from here.
Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I can, what we can do is we can get the information. This isn't an agended item, so from my understanding, an abatement has to be a hearing.
Right.
I think it's it's not quasi-judicial, but it has to be an actual agenda item. So what we can do is we can get this over to the attorney's office. We can work with, if you'll leave your information.
Oh, absolutely. I
And
knew.
we'll come back with a report and see if we can't come to some sort of solution that the staff can work with.
We
We're
still
working on this with another case as well.
And we still contract with the magistrate, don't we? Or-
I have to look into that. I believe we are. I know there's
So
not
it
been
should be
anything
record of
active
that.
done on that. That's another item on the to-do list.
But if you
So-
give your information to Mr. Barber,
I got it. I'm
Okay.
gonna send it to him.
we'll put it on the agenda.
I'm sorry, that was 103rd Avenue?
133rd. Southwest 133rd.
133rd.
Thank you, sir, for the time.
Thank you guys very much, and good luck with everything. It's not
Yes,
easy
sir.
having to make those kind of choices that you guys do.
Archer first. Anyone else for comment? And before you start, Ms. White, I'll entertain a motion to extend the meeting 10 more minutes.
So moved.
All right, I have a motion from Vice Mayor Bailey and a second from Commissioner Penny. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well, and Dave, aye, motion carried. Yes, ma'am, thank you.
I have two things. First of all, thank you for recording the town hall meeting the other night. Some of us did watch it. And I got angry watching it, but I have something for you too, for doing that. But the second thing is, I was really disappointed at the last meeting. I wasn't here, but I watched it. And I heard about no comments. I heard the city manager say that it was on him, that he had the authority by charter to change the agenda. With all due respect, he doesn't. By charter, you make the policy. If you go back, and Mr. Kosicki sat back here and he said it had always been done. I apologize. That we had 2 comment periods. No, and Mayor, you know it, and so does the Vice Mayor. About 12 years ago, we had an administration that did away with it, set up a new policy. You got a lot of kudos because you voted against it. Did you do that just for show? Vice Mayor, you ran because of it. Correct. And now we're looking at doing away with it. I'm sorry, y'all, that looks like hypocrisy to me.
So, Commissioner,
Can we get through the
Ms.
comments,
White.
please, and then you can speak.
well,
Yes, sir.
No,
I'd rather the comments continue and then we can
here we
speak.
go. Stay around, stick around.
Just for a point of order, please, just first things first.
All right, Gene Arnold. I appreciate the efficiency of the meeting tonight. I thought conversation's good, a healthy debate is just a good thing. So I appreciate that. I stayed to speak my piece, and there's one comment period, and I'm personally fine with that. I think it's much better than some of these meetings that have gone till 11:30. But again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. On some positive notes, Mayor, I know it was mentioned, but I'm going to mention it again. At the water meeting, the people that didn't show up, and there weren't many unfortunately, missed out on a phenomenal spread of food and desserts, and so much was left over. I took a big thing home.
City Interested Fellowship,
and
that's all it was.
I'm not, hey, I did. It was phenomenal. So
Those takeout containers won, didn't it?
thank you for that. It was a positive.
My
It's
pleasure.
nice. It's lighthearted. It's good to kind of just go to those
Good
meetings.
information.
And I appreciate you hosting it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to steal a little thunder probably, but Miss Skinner, I know that they're going to have a church fried chicken Friday night, so I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about that.
Good.
But I'm excited about that. And then Miss Green, I hope, comes up and tells y'all about the big train event that we're going to have over at the depot here in May 9th, but she'll talk more eloquently than I will about it. Thank you all so much.
you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
I fed 5 kids 2 meals out of that food.
Brenda Skinner. I'm not going to talk about that yet because announcements have been moved all the way down to the bottom. So I will wait on that, but I do have a comment to make on that. Announcements have always been towards the top so that we could talk about things that are coming up in our community at the beginning of the meeting so that people who are out there and have to go to bed early can hear about things that are coming up in our community. And I think putting it at the end of the meeting is not a good place because often our commissioners have things that they're involved in, and we like to hear about those things as well as things that our people out here have to talk about. So I think announcements should be further up, like towards the beginning, so that people who are out there listening will know about them. But I'll come back up and talk about my announcement. Couple of things that I do have to either comment on or question about. The Archer cleanup. Last year there was a lot of confusion. Number one, people didn't know where to go or what they could put out there because there were no posters around anywhere. So they were like, can we do tires? Can we do trees? Can we do this or that? And do we have to take it over to a particular place? Are they going to come pick it up like they have in the past? Nobody knew anything. So it would be nice if there were some posters out this year, or if somehow you could get something out to tell us what's going to go on and how that's going to be done. The payroll company. When I came in here tonight, I came in totally against that, but thank you, Commissioner Fiore, and for the explanations that you guys had on them. After listening to what you explained, I understand now why you're going with somebody else to do the payroll, and totally understand that, and I think it's a good idea. So that was really, really good. The second charter review meeting, I also agree with that. I think that's a really good idea, and I hope that you really do take a second look at that and what's going on with it. Thank you, too, for keeping the MSTU and fire assessment. That makes me feel so much better. And one thing that has not come up tonight, and sometimes we hear it, sometimes we don't, but there was sort of alluded to the fact of the previous city manager and things that went on before, but nobody really comes out and says whether or not you're pursuing anything there. I really think you guys need to stop and look at what happened previously and whether or not someone needs to look at whether someone should go back and look at whether or not something needs to be pursued. Because money went out of here, whether it was the previous manager's fault or other people were involved. We really need to look and see, can some of those monies be recouped and how? Because something sure happened, whether it was through negligence or otherwise. And I really think you need to look at that seriously. And I'll be back in a few minutes.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. I'll entertain extending the meeting 10 more minutes.
I won't take that long. And Green, first I want to say train day is May 9th. And train day is like, we used to have ULE day, but we're going to focus on trains. And Lisa from the library is our coordinator, and we want y'all to put that on your calendar, May 9th. And of course, I've talked to the UF Health for May 21, and we're on board for that too, to agree with them on working together. I would say what a good meeting you've had tonight. Thank you for bringing us up to speed on our finances. When I saw that first page, manually reconciled a statement, I think I said just yellow pad and a pencil, and we could find out where we are 2 years ago. But I'm so happy that things are turning around, and we can always, and you know, any project that we ever do, we look back and say we could do things better. But let's just keep moving. Thank you.
Thank you.
I move to extend another 10 minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a
Second.
motion? Do I have a second? Who was, Commissioner Petey?
It will both
All in
of us.
favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Motion carries 5-0. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Costello.
Lori Costello, I have a few questions. The cleanup, where will that be posted on the webpage? Because I also have questions. I want to know whether, if we have to take it there, is Waste Pro going to be going house to house to pick up extra stuff? Are they taking paint? But I always have a problem of trying to find stuff on the website. I look under news, thinking that it's always under news, but things aren't. Do you have any idea where it might be posted on there? Any?
You wanted me to wait till everything was...
Oh, okay, all
Sorry.
right. And the fuel mileage, I think that was mentioned to me before. And we, by the audit, we have to do the miles per gallon in the vehicles. So I'm very, very concerned about that, because we can put all the fuel that we purchased anywhere, but if we don't have miles per gallon, then we're not really keeping track of the fuel. Another thing is the payroll. Does that include vacation, holidays, and sick? Because, were there a lot of mistakes on those issues? And then my other question is, when are we going to start the budget workshop? Like in May, June? Okay, those are all my questions. I really enjoyed the update on the financials a lot. I can see that somebody is working very hard, and I'm impressed by that. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's a trap, isn't it? It's like mousetrap. A couple things. One is that in regard to, you obviously have heard from folks that they're not happy about getting rid of the public presentation at the beginning of the meeting. One of the examples, I think, of why we need to have that is you had a couple of folks sitting here about almost 4 hours where they had some stuff that's really unrelated to the rest of the meeting that needed to get that stuff out, and they could have left. So they sat here for 4 hours, and I've seen that happen time and time again here. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I brought up something about Robert's Rules, and you guys kind of blew it off. So Robert's Rules is part of our ordinances. Okay, so it's part of our ordinances. We're supposed to be following them if it doesn't conflict with state law or other ordinances. So I mentioned custom, and custom is, and I'm going to quote from section 2-25 of Robert's Rules of Order, which are incorporated into our ordinances. Custom is treated practically as if it was prescribed by a rule. If there is no contrary provision in a parliamentary authority or written rules of the organization, such an established custom is adhered to unless the assembly by majority vote agrees in a particular instance to do otherwise. So in other words, if you decide that you don't want to do this anymore, then you need to make a motion and say we don't want to do it anymore. Just not avoid. I mean, stand up there. I mean, if you really think that you don't want to have the public to have that, that first thing, then make a motion and say it. I mean, that's the rule, and you're going to be the parliamentary authority if we ever get the new the parliamentarian if we ever get the new charter done. So it's going to be falling on your shoulders. Sorry. The other thing I want to bring up is that a couple of weeks ago we had a big windstorm kind of a thing. Debris and dirt was flowing outside of the concrete batch plant onto people's properties. So I informed the city manager about that. And the issue is not so much that it happened, those types of things happen. But I was a bit concerned because he had some questions that he sent to the attorney in regards to where his authority lies in regards to addressing nuisances. So I got copied on the email to the attorney. I didn't see anything back. So I really would like to reemphasize that we need to be crystal clear on what Mr. Barber can do and what he can't do in regards to things like nuisances, or when there's an obvious issue in regards to our code. Now, I'm not saying he needs to go out there and find somebody, and that's something that obviously can happen, but really, if there should be no question that he can pick up the phone and say, you need to fix this issue. And we need to be kind of crystal clear about that, good, so that everybody's clear on what can be done and what can't be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
You want me to make my announcement now?
Yes, ma'am, you certainly can make an announcement now.
Just done at the same time. You are all invited, everybody. This Friday night at the First Archer United Methodist Church, we are having our fried chicken dinner, back by popular demand. It's from 5:30 to 7. For those who are not accustomed to this, we do this once a quarter at the church. It is free, totally free. Just come and enjoy dinner with us. We have fried chicken, rice and gravy, green beans, and homemade desserts. And it'll be followed by karaoke, family-friendly karaoke at 7 o'clock. So please come and join us. We have a great time, and it's over at the church.
Thank you for the invite.
Household of 7, so you better be careful with those invitations.
Anyone else? Announcements or comments?
No, you need to come up, bring your household of 7, it's fun.
This meeting is adjourned.
Oh,
at
wait,
10.
wait,
I'm sorry.
wait,
Yes,
wait.
ma'am. Vice
I
Mayor Bailey
think,
wanted to comment.
yeah, Mr. Barber was gonna answer some questions too, I think. I don't know, I might be sticking my foot in my mouth.
I'll
But-
extend to the meeting another 10 minutes, or whatever I'm supposed to say.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I have a second from Vice Mayor Bailey. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Motion carries. 10 more minutes.
So, Joni, if that wasn't my platform was to bring the city together, bring the community together. That actually was Corey Harris's. However, and he wanted 2 public comment periods because he was concerned that people were not being heard. Now, when I heard this last month, I did say something because it caught me by surprise, and because I think we were waiting for the mayor, I started off, and so I was doing it as I normally do. And then when we got down to that part, I was like, oh, okay, so, yeah, I didn't know about that. So I'm definitely not a hypocrite. Whatever okay, no, I said something because I didn't know about it. And so for you, and you, I guess, coming on after me, that may have looked that way to you, but that was definitely not my idea, because me and Corey had that conversation up here when he was here, because I felt like we should keep that first comment period and not have the second one, because it was going really long. But he was determined to have 2, and then we had a majority voted for the 2, which was still fine. But I do agree, I like the public comment period earlier, so that people don't have to wait until 10 o'clock at night to say something. But
For an example,
Yeah.
had you had it in the beginning, you would have saved yourself 3, 6, 9, how many times I get up? 5?
correct,
15 minutes.
yeah. Maybe.
Anything
Because some
else,
people
Vice
like
Mayor?
to talk.
No? Anyone else? Okay, in this meeting appropriately to resolve something tonight that's been brought to us, up to us multiple times, do we want to introduce back a first comment period and a second comment
wanna do
period?
it
I'll
now.
entertain a motion. With announcements in the beginning.
I agree. I want announcements in the beginning, and the public comment in the beginning needs to be stuff that is not on the agenda. Nothing on the agenda would be first public go-around.
Okay, I have a motion to that effect. Do I have
Second.
a second? I have a second from Vice Mayor Bailey. Any other comments from the constituents?
one comment.
Yes.
So it was stated that I said I had the authority of the charter to make this decision. That is not what I stated. What I stated was it's authority in the charter for me to create an agenda. Every agenda, every meeting at the beginning has where you guys approve, add, take away from that meeting. So yes, that's absolutely correct that you all have the power to do that. I compile that agenda. That was my only statement. I had chosen to compile it that way. I was making sure the residents knew I did that on my own. I didn't want commissioners being blamed for that. I'm new. I'm learning the residents. I'm going to make mistakes. Okay? Let's be very clear about that. I'm going to make mistakes. So if y'all are looking for a perfect city manager, you chose the wrong candidate. I want to make that very clear. I have no problem with announcements being moved to the beginning. I have no problem with public comment. What I have a problem with is we do not need to ask questions about items that are on the agenda that we're going to address. So staff comments, things of that nature, need to happen before that public comment. Because we addressed, John and I both, probably 17 items that we were most likely going to get questions on that we answered prior to those questions being asked. And it's not because we don't want to hear from the residents. I also want to make sure that they don't feel that this is their only time of engaging with us. I have put out my phone number. It's my personal cell. It's out to everyone. I have engaged with every resident that has requested, that has asked. I've gone to their porches. I've ridden in their cars. I've met here. I am meeting every single one. And I don't mean saying, hey, I'll get with you in 2 weeks, and then they maybe hear from me. I mean, there's appointments being asked of a day, and literally within that afternoon, there's an appointment that's had. So I want to dissuade this idea that they don't have access to influence, because that's not the case, and I want that on the record. No one has been refused a meeting. No one has been refused an opportunity to meet with myself, Mr. Martin, or any staff member.
It's
Duly noted.
It's the commission that we want to have time with.
Duly noted. All right, let me be clear. Anything from the constituency regarding the motion that's on the floor? Yes, or Mr. Lewandowski?
Yeah, I just wanted clarification, so it's going to be,
Announcement.
okay,
Public comment one on anything that's comment, not on the agenda.
okay,
Comment number two at the end is comment in general with everything.
okay.
Now, I can't make it any clearer.
No,
than that.
I just wanted to make, I wasn't sure about the second one, that's why I wanted to ask, okay? Just settle down, Mr. Mayor. I'm not yelling at you.
No, I'm not going to settle down tonight.
My wife
I
told
am
me
doing
to be
Robert's-
nice tonight,
Excuse
so I
me,
am.
I'm doing Robert's Rule of Order. I
Okay.
am the parliamentarian until you have your charter review party or whatever, and she becomes it. The other issue is, at the end, the comment period can be comment. Is the only thing I'm asking out of this group. We also, something I was challenged on was, can I comment on anything on the agenda? We've done that all night tonight. It's 10:15. On every item, we've had multiple invitations of people to comment on the comment of what is going to be voted on. I continue to do that as your mayor. Robert's Rule of Order, parliamentarian procedures. Don't need a lawyer to tell me that. Are you clear on that, sir?
You got, okay.
And you're
So-
about to be up here with me, so if we're not, we can.
Can I
have-
speak, or-
No, yes, you can finish your comment period so we can all go home. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, so I simply just wanted to make sure that was, there was still gonna be the two comment periods. That's really the only reason I
That's
came
what
up.
the motion is on the floor, sir.
Oh, okay, well, it wasn't clear.
Announcement and two comment periods,
Okay.
one in the beginning, one in the end. I introduced that at the end of this meeting because of the comments from the citizens tonight as a courtesy and listening with civility. Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's what's on the table.
All right, I just wanted to get clarification on that. That's the only reason
Did
I
I give
came
you
up.
clarification on that, Mr. Lewandowski?
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other constituents in the audience with any comments regarding the motion on the floor? Hearing none, let's go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion for two comment periods with an announcement at the beginning, with the first comment period clarifying anything not on the agenda. Is that correct?
Correct.
Commissioner Fiore?
Yes.
Is that correct, Commissioner Vice Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Let's go to a vote. All those in favor of that to be added on the agenda with the duly noted comments from our city manager, thank you, sir, say aye.
Aye.
Aye as well. Nays, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. This meeting is adjourned at 10:16. Thank you for your attendance.
You're not going to answer any of the questions?
Well, which question?
What questions?
My question. Yeah, he was.